And that should be audio go live. Probably. Never quite sure with YouTube. But it should be. Just need to actually get to the stream page so I can monitor chat. Alright, sweet. Good to go. I don't know why on mobile it always defaults to live chat, but on PC it always defaults to top chat, the one that's like way worse and doesn't work.
Oh no, it defaults to top chat on my phone. I always have to swap it over to all.
It always goes to live on my tablet, so maybe you're the problem. Ever think about that?
Well, we have discussed the fact that that I somehow work witchy voodoo on all electronics I'm near.
Yeah, let me just put this in portrait. So
I'm not a walking glitch like Sarge, but I do wreak unintentional havoc on all technology. Please see my attempts to text you earlier today. Alright, Bio sent me the thing, so I've got to do the thing. Aw. That looks like a little baby. Is there a new little baby?
They get another cat?
It might be a little baby that they've had before, but it looks like a new little baby to me. Or it looks like a little baby. Not necessarily a new little baby, but it does look like a little baby.
When are they going to be satisfied? How many cats do they need? It's that he was losing to Natsu, I think. couldn't abide Natsu having more cats than him.
Listen, how many does Natsu have now?
I don't know, like 13.
But aren't most of them at least allegedly fosters, or are they foster failing all of them?
I have no idea anymore. There's too many. There was another new one that was being talked about like last week or the week before. I don't know. So, there's a bit. So, final battle.
Yay! I'm almost done with this game. Woohoo!
And Artoria got flashbanged. You're almost done until you decide to come back for UBW to have an actually good route.
Hang on, I'm explaining the curly dog in my photos this week to Bio. Okay. Yeah. Curly Pupper, as you put it, Bio, is my parents' dog. Okay.
So yeah, Artoria got flashbanged. If she'd been conscious, she would have seen that it was a black polar light.
There are some contradictions there, but okay.
No, you can have a black light. I had one in my ceiling for a long time.
That's true.
The darkness was momentary. Or possibly monetary, but I'm pretty sure it's momentary. But it wasn't darkness. It was a swarm of tiny curses. You say swarm, I'm just picturing like...
It's just quietly whispered, fuck you.
Well, that or like... just the word swarm. It's because Baz and I have been very slowly working our way through Inuyasha over time. I hear swarm and I just think, bees! Every time anyone tries to, I don't know, open a suck hole in their hand, bees! Suddenly bees! And the darkness sweeps her body away, and the discomfort jolts her to wakefulness. And then she realizes she's at the Ryudo Temple. I sigh. The first thing her returning consciousness brings her is pain. Whatever parts of her weren't protected by her armor are horribly burned, and her flesh has been brutally savaged by blades of all sorts. She is a dismal sight.
そうか。私は
So, Inuyasha has a very special place in my heart. Is the best answer I can give you, because it's sort of the thing that got me into the genre. So, it's far from the best thing I've ever seen, for sure. But it is one of, at this point, like 3 anime that, after all my shit got stolen several years ago, that I have made the conscious decision to reacquire the entirety of. Because that's just so, like, core to my enjoyment of the platform. Like, I had to get that, even though I have every volume of the manga. Gurren Lagann, which I had to get back because I genuinely, for my purposes, think that's the best anime ever.
I disagree, but you're entitled to your opinion. I respect your opinion. I just disagree.
Yeah, no, I understand anyone that disagrees with it, but for my part, Gurren Lagann, best anime out there, and I could not. Like, I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, if I had to give up, if I had to, like, wipe every anime out except for one, and I only save one, which one do I save? And, like, without hesitation, I was like, yeah, I guess it's Gurren Lagann, isn't it?
So, I'm curious if you could guess what anime I'd save if I could
probably
only save one.
not, because I only have context for stuff that I know you saw up through, like, high school.
I will say it's something you know I've seen.
Yeah, that doesn't really help, though, because, again, like...
My taste is super eclectic, too.
Well, and it's changed tremendously since high school, right? Like, it'll be something that I'm sure we jointly watched, because that's how it was back then, but that doesn't, I mean... Like, you're in that category that I could see, like, Fruits Basket applying to, like, especially the newer one, not so much the original one. But I don't think that's gonna be it. It's not gonna be, like, it's not gonna be Ceres or Fushigi Yugi, because those are just terrible adaptations.
They are. I'm still waiting for an Alice 19th anime.
Yeah, anytime now. There's... I mean, it's not gonna be... It's not gonna... I can't imagine it's gonna be Moon Phase, because that's just so not...
No, although I do have a soft spot for it.
I know you saw, like, a couple of episodes worth of Tsukihime, because I remember, I think you and the Beachover were watching that on Anime Roulette when I got home one time.
Yeah. Anime Roulette. You know what? I'm going to have to see if he and I can play that when we do our Wednesday hangout this week, because it's been ages.
So, it's not going to be Tsukihime, which, thank God, that anime's garbage. It's not going to be Romeo x Juliet, even though it's...
Even though
tree.
Objectively it's excellent until the tree.
Tree! Yeah, no, I can't...
So,
I mean, it could be something like, I don't know, the Deep Cloverway dub of Sailor Moon, which is the greatest dub of all time, but...
So, no, but right area. So, oddly, if I could only save one thing, it would be Sailor Moon. But, and this is mild blasphemy, it would be Crystal because it's closer to the manga.
Crystal is closer to the manga. I'll give you that.
It does lack some of the charm of the 90s dub, but I feel like that's mostly because nostalgia glasses.
No, the 90s dub is just the perfect dub of anything ever.
But if I could only save one anime, that would probably be it. Although Skip Beat would be very, very close for me.
Crystal's definitely good.
Because Skip Beat is one of my favorite mangas, and the anime adaptation is great. I wish it were longer because it covers like maybe the first like 20 to 30 chapters of the manga, which is currently on chapter 300 and some shit. So, you know, I wish it were longer. But if it covered more of the manga, that would probably actually be my favorite. Which is funny because it's just like revenge slice of life, and I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But Full Moon, Wo Sagashite, not Full Moon, the vampire Full Moon, would probably be up there, which is the game or the anime that a lot of the music in this game reminds me of. And as I Googled last week, it came out first. So, and that's getting a remaster and re-release either this year or next year. And I'm 100% buying the crap out of all of it. But
no, the three that I went out of my way to get: Inuyasha, Gurren Lagann, and one that I only just saw like in the past couple years, but is so good that I had to have it preserved, is Violet Evergarden. That's not even anime. That is art. That is just art.
Yeah, you and Dad both tell me you think I'd like it.
Yeah, you would. And one of these days I'm going to force you to watch all 27 episodes and 2 movies. Because I have them. And they're real fucking good.
I mean, you could... Oh god, it'd be janky as hell to pull off. Because we'd probably have to break out, like, an old school DVD player, like, portable DVD player. Or just upload it all electronically to a computer or some shit, but you've got me hostage for like 28 hours of car in 2 months.
That's true. I wouldn't be able to use a DVD player though. It'd have to have a portable Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, that's
because
fair.
I only of Violet Evergarden, I only have the first film on DVD because they sent. So I just bought this. I bought the regular editions, right? Except for the second film. I got the 4K on that on purpose because they had it. But the series, they just gave me DVD. The first film they gave me, series they just gave me Blu-ray. First film they gave me DVD Blu-ray combo pack. And the second film they gave me 4K Blu-ray combo pack. I don't know why they sent it the regular Blu-ray with the 4K Blu-ray, but they did, so that's fun. But to get back to the original question, like, I think Inuyasha is quite worth a watch, although I think it's probably more worth a read than it is a watch.
I would agree with you on that.
I think the anime is quite good. It doesn't fall into a lot of the traps that anime of that era did, like Naruto, for instance. Great series, not so great anime adaptation, especially when you consider there's like 5 seasons of nothing but filler in Naruto. Inuyasha did have filler, don't get me wrong, but Inuyasha's filler never went on for like entire seasons at a time, and it was all actually kind of good world building and good character building, unlike Naruto's, which was all trash, except for the Curry of Life episode, which was the best filler of anything ever. Don't at me. Or Bleach, who also had the Bount arc, which we don't talk about the Bount arc. So yeah, Inuyasha I'd say is worth a watch. I think it's more worth reading the manga, which is exactly what I'll say about Naruto and Bleach as well.
I will say, as someone who's read a decent chunk of, though not all of the Inuyasha manga, and who's watched most of the anime, excluding probably a handful of episodes of Final Act, Inuyasha has a very big soft spot in my heart. I suspect probably largely due to Stockholm Syndrome with the anime. Because it was a favorite of Inu's, so a lot of the time if I was coming downstairs and anime was already on the TV before I got to it, it was usually Inuyasha for a decent chunk of my, like, growing up phase. So I have a very big soft spot for it, but...
I just rediscovered the other day an old commercial for Adult Swim for Inuyasha.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you'll remember the glory that was the one Adult Swim commercial, where it was like a minute and a half straight, where they knew what they were doing. It was just Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome, for like a minute and a half straight.
Well, listen.
And then they were like, and they just, the end, they just put the times, like the air times on it. I was like, yeah, Adult Swim knew what they were doing.
I mean, to be fair, that felt like it was half the anime episodes sometime.
I mean, yeah.
Unless Kikyo was on screen. In which case it was usually Kikyo he was yelling for.
True story. Anyway, Aya defeated the shit out of Artoria, so unfortunate for her.
The other thing they loved flashing back to was the Inuyasha Kikyo relationship.
No, they really love flashing back to him getting stabbed to a tree. It was like their favorite flashback. It was great. It was like every other episode. Gil unleashed his noble phantasm, and she couldn't defend against so many. And then she got hit by Aya. Oops. She barely managed to deflect it with Excalibur, but the damage to her body was too severe. Her wounds heal on their own without using magical energy, but even the protection of the sacred sword's sheath is unable to return her to full health in an instant. And then...
ここまでだセイバー。よもやその体でまだ敗北を認めぬなどと言わぬだろうな。
By which I mean fuck you. But not physically. Gil walks forward, not a scratch on his armor.
My brain just went to a really bizarre spot. Where I briefly went, if two servants had sex, could the female servant get pregnant?
No, that's not how servants work.
I didn't think it was.
Incarnated servants might be a different thing, though.
But it was just like, my brain instantly went there when you were like, fuck you, but not really, though. I'm like, how would... That's my brain.
So someone once asked Rumiko Takahashi what would happen if female Ranma got pregnant and then turned back into being male Ranma. Like, what happens to the child? What happens to the baby?
It wasn't her response something like...
Takahashi's response was, I didn't think about that, neither should you. Moving on. Oh, I love her. Saber lays on the ground, looking up at her enemy. There's nothing she can do right now. Nothing can stop him from doing whatever he likes with her now.
ギルガメッシュ、今の光は。
Despite the situation, Saber is more concerned about the light.
And yes, I'm sure, fungi.
The flash of light. That deep darkness that welled up from the far side of the temple and, for a moment, covered the world itself.
Though I will concede that that thought coming up in my brain probably had more to do with the fact that my brain, when Inu and I are sitting on the couch playing this game, goes 10 million miles a minute trying to put shit together, and just Inu's phrasing there triggered the thinky part of the overthinky part of my brain in a very weird direction. Yeah, no, this game gives me a headache. I have no trouble getting to sleep when I go home after this game every week because my brain's just like, nope, fuck this shit, I'm done.
She doesn't want to think about it, but that darkness might have been aimed at Shiro. Well, he was over there.
お前ならばわかろう。あれは極大の呪いだ。
What curse?
琴峰が聖杯から直接呼び出したのだろうな。聖杯の中にはこの世のすべてを呪うなどというものがあるのだそうだ。先ほどから見えているあのお濁はな、聖杯から漏れている残りカスに過ぎん。その本体を出されたのだ。お前のマスターとてもはやこの世にはおるまい。
Alright, Nightfire.
そんなことは。
Saber wills her body to move. But she knows she can't. She can't just lay down, though.
嘘だ。シローは生きている。まだちゃんと。
She can still feel her connection with her master. It's weak, like the faint embers of a fire on the verge of going out, but Shiro is alive. She has to keep going. If he fights something unheard of or incomprehensible, Shiro will be no match for it.
At least now that he no longer has his immortality MacGuffin.
Yeah, his immortality axe is gone. Saber clings to that faint warmth and again wills herself to move. But it's useless. Even though the sacred sword sheath needs a few more minutes to restore her. Or even... Where'd I get though from?
I don't
もはや
know.
手遅れだ。おとなしくしていろよ、セイバー。お前が何をしようが次期聖杯は溢れ出す。10年前の再来だ。ただし、こたびの義は俺ではなく、お前に与えられたものだがな。
Don't worry, we'll get you incarnated, plug you into the children in the basement, it'll be fine. The Golden Knight smiles as he turns his gaze up to the burning red sky.
喜べ、セイバー。あれを浴びれば、お前も俺と同じになれる。この世で肉を持ち、第二の生を謳歌できよう。まあもっとも、俺のように自我を保てるとは限らんが。
Debatable.
No, he's always been like this. This is his normal state. Saber looks up at him, bewildered. She can sense the immensity of the curse. It's a magnificent cluster of magical energy. With so much power, any magecraft would be possible. Were Caster to wield it, the possibilities would be endless. But it's a double-edged sword. It curses humans, and only humans. Even heroic spirits wouldn't be able to remain themselves after coming into contact with that curse. That's when she realizes. Gilgamesh, a decade ago, that corruption even swallowed up the most ancient king of heroes. And then...
ギルガメッシュ。あなたは。
He's gone mad. No, he's literally just always been like this.
そう思うか、騎士よ。
Gil looks down at Saber, laughing merrily. It's strangely out of character for him, but the look seems somehow appropriate.
侮るな。あの程度の呪い、飲み干せなくて何が英雄か。この世すべての悪。はっ、俺を染めたければ、その3倍は持ってこい。
Well, someone's full of himself.
Yeah? Well, I mean, he is the king of
英
heroes.
雄とはな、己が視界に入るすべての人間を背負うもの。この世のすべてなぞ、とうの昔に背負っている。
Hearing those words, Saber gasps. She knows in that moment that she will never understand this heroic spirit. His unthinkable arrogance, the staggering ego leading him to believe heaven and earth exist only for him, his ruthless choices that bear no regard for any but himself. All of these things are completely opposite to her own belief of what it is to be a king. But he was a king. Even Saber can't deny that. No other servant than Gilgamesh could have retained their sense of self after being bathed in that immensely powerful curse.
そうだな。泥を飲ませるのはいいが、それで自我を失われては楽しみがない。どれ
Who's gonna perform your marriage ceremony in like 2 minutes, dude?
They've got a priest. They literally have a priest.
Oh, yeah. I guess they do, don't they?
There's literally a Catholic priest right there.
Well, yeah, but a Catholic priest that also wants to sacrifice the shit out of Saber.
That doesn't matter. Gil can take him.
And no, fungi, spoiled 5-year-olds are better than that. I work with them.
Gilgamesh, Kisama.
Is he holding her up by her ankle?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Because it also kind of looks like she's trying to backflip kick him in the shoulder pad
I
and then
know,
hit him with her sword.
Hold on, the right button of the 4. Okay, what is actually going on here?
I think he's holding her up.
It looks like there is a hand. It looks like there's.
So I think his gauntleted hand is on her ankle.
The back of her leg there. You can see like 2 fingers curled around her.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's got her by.
I think he's just picked her up by the foot. He's now holding her upside down.
But it does also kind of look like she's trying to like backflip kick him in the jaw.
Also, I don't remember this CG. I don't think this was in the original game.
Also, love that Excalibur's glowing. Like, she's about to try and Excaliblast him despite her internal organs being mostly outside of her right now.
I mean, look, her internal organs may be goo, but, you know, it's all good. Yeah, that's definitely a Rialto New edition.
なんだ。手荒く扱われるのは趣味ではないか？ならば慣れておけ。女と食事に出し惜しみはしない主義でな。気の向くままに奪い、食らうだけだ。
I like my women the way I like my food. Devoured.
I mean, there are perks to that.
Willow has a vor fetish confirmed. Saber glares up at Gilgamesh as she hangs upside down by her toes. Her beautiful, beautiful toes. Let us not forget.
くだらんな。たかが霊樹の縛りでこの体をくれてやっていたとは。
それは違う。勘違いをするな、ギルガメッシュ。私は誰にも従わない。初めからこの体にそんな自由はないのだ。
ほう。ではどうあっても俺のものにはならないというのか。
What is going on with her skirt?
It's
I'm sorry, it's just really distracting.
Yeah, it's having a time.
Like, I mean, I've been thinking the entire time that it's weird that she has a petticoat on under armor. That would be ridiculously uncomfortable for so many reasons. And hot as hell to wear. But...
Yeah, but she was in, like, northern England where it's cold as fuck.
That's fair. But... petticoats don't fall like that. I mean, not that I've ever been held upside down by my ankle when I've been wearing a petticoat at Ren Fair, but I can't imagine it would do that.
Alright, well, next time you're at Ren Fair, we're going to need somebody to hold you upside down by your ankle to test this. It's very important scientific testing data. We have to know for...
I mean, I wouldn't be against it for experimentation purposes, but that would be impressive strength to be able to just hold me airborne by one ankle with one hand. That would be pretty fucking impressive.
I mean, she does have another leg there somewhere.
Well, that's what the other theory is that her other leg is keeping it up. But even then, that would imply that her current leg isn't in her skirt.
Right, yeah.
Which, to be fair, is kind of what the image is making it look like. But in that case, how the fuck did she get one leg completely out of her petticoat and lower armor?
Gilgamesh is my answer to that.
Like, I'm sorry, but there's no logic or no good structure to this. There just isn't.
Again, we're gonna need empirical testing data from Ren Fair, so...
He can't be grabbing it. He's grabbing her ankle, which doesn't have dress on it. You can see that. The dress itself...
Listen, I need empirical testing data, that's all I'm saying.
I'm screenshotting this purely so Inu can send it to me and I can try and figure out the fuck is happening with this dress later. Because now I need to figure it out. His hand is not on that dress.
No, his hand is on her fucking foot.
And the other hand is at his side. We can see that.
Maybe it's his third hand. Like he's got a second smaller hand coming out of his left elbow. His red eyes rake over Saber. They are entirely devoid of human emotion.
As they try and figure out the fuck is wrong with her skirt.
If she disobeys, he will kill her, no matter how attached he may be to something, physically, by holding it. If it doesn't obey him, he will simply destroy it. That is simply how Gilgamesh sees the world. Saber doesn't look away. She simply glares hatefully at Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh, 私は誰のものにもならない。私はすでに国のものだ。この身は女である前に王なのだから。
She's not saying this to anyone in particular. Yes, she is. She's saying it to Gilgamesh. She's simply expressing the tiny warmth that's still within her heart.
何を言うかと思えば笑わせるなセイバー。王にとって国とは己のものに過ぎない。何もかも支配できぬのならば王などという超越者は不要なのだ。まったく。アーサー王よ。そんなだからお前は国によって滅ぼされたのだ。
It was less the country and more just her bastard son. The Golden Knight mocks her for her naivety. With her heart is set now.
ああ、その通りだ。だが英雄王よ。
How dare you speak of Mordred to me?
そんなだから、貴様は自らの国を滅ぼしたのだ。
Such fierce spirit. Saber twists her entire body, using the leverage to kick Gilgamesh in the face with her free leg. Gil releases her. Saber stretches her arms out and arrests her fall. Stop! You're under arrest! You're going to prison, fall! And then springs upward.
男子を足毛にどうやら本格的にしつけられたいらしいな。セイバー!
She closes her eyes and looks within herself. It's no wonder your own country turned on you. It's not news to her. Since her summoning is a saber, she's been hearing those words over and over.
That better not have been one of the 3 fucking things Kiritsugu said to her.
It's different with him. He grew angry with her as if it had been about him, but he also thought her actions were worthy of pride. She knows what she must do. Even if she has no hope of victory, she cannot stop here. She must laser beam a man. She needs to do something while she can still feel that warmth inside of her. Quick, laser beam the man. She has to get to her master as fast as she can. The plan was you kill Gil, and he deals with Kirei. Don't abandon the plan.
Well, yeah, but she is trying to deal with Gil. It's also that she kind of sort of realizes that trying to let Shiro handle Kiritsugu without immortality hacks. Sorry, not Kiritsugu.
Couldn't handle Kiritsugu. Kiritsugu's dead.
What's his face McPriest guy? And that it says a lot. The priest's name is just nowhere in my memory bank. Yeah, what's his face McPriest man? What stabbed Reen?
The bastard.
She's realized Shiro can't necessarily beat him without sheath hacks. And for the record, even with sheath hacks, he still got his butt handed to him.
He sure did.
You know, he is kind of fucking hopeless if she doesn't get over there.
She's about 8 meters from Gilgamesh. She positions herself at the ideal distance for intercepting an attack, which is 8 meters, specifically, which she's just experienced firsthand. Her body won't move the way she wants. She can barely grip her sword, and her legs are hardly able to bear her weight. Even a weak blow would be too much for her now. But she shows neither weakness nor hesitation. Even Gilgamesh feels he has to prepare himself. The Golden Knight readies Ea, his eyes on his opponent. Saber doesn't answer. But her determination is there to see in her eyes. The air itself roars. Ea, the sword of rupture from ancient Mesopotamia, is said to have divided heaven and earth to create the world. He says he's not going to hold back. The funny story is, if he actually didn't hold back with Ea, he would destroy the planet before even releasing the attack. Gilgamesh, the king of heroes, readies his supreme sword to finally put an end to his enemy. The atmospheric vortex it creates, the sheer quantity of converging magical energy far exceeds Saber's Excalibur. Gil raises his sword. Saber mirrors the movement in perfect synchronization. Their eyes meet for an instant. Gilgamesh flourishes his sword. But Saber's sword falls to the ground useless. She lacks the strength to activate her noble phantasm. Lol, just kidding! The light which can sever all things bursts through her. Unable to do anything, she's swallowed up by the light. The moment I'm engulfed in darkness. Hell itself is imprinted on my mind. The 5 starting penalties: life, body, imprisonment, humiliation, and finance.
I read fiance.
That too. Let the myriad sins, mud, darkness, and malice continue to surround and punish all. Eliminate human rights through decapitation, exile, and repression. Let the body descend into a state of torment and debauchery. Eliminate group consensus by forfeiting honor. Boy, this is just the current American government. Holy shit!
But
Stay Night was 20 years ahead of its time, man.
But I do like the way my brain read it first. The 5 starting penalties:
life, body,
imprisonment, humiliation, and fiance.
Die. Ridicule through greed and arbitrary decisions that freeze assets and property. Imprisonment, fines, the death penalty, crimes committed in the name of personal grudges, crimes committed to satisfy selfish desires, crimes committed unconsciously.
You're right, it is just modern politics.
Crimes proclaiming self-consciousness, civil disturbance, solicitation, fraud, theft, robbery, kidnapping, self-harm, violence, arson, bombing, infringement, manslaughter, group violence, professional negligence, overconfidence.
Yep.
Just,
politics,
again,
2025.
the American executive branch right now. Die. Accidents. Accidents by intoxication, which is somehow different from regular accidents. Cover-ups. I thought that said Crimea for a second, but no, that says crimes.
What crimes for personal gain on the last slide?
Crimea for personal gain. Crimes committed in the name of the ego. Crimes committed in the name of love. Crimes committed in the name of virtue. Crimes committed for themselves. Theft and embezzlement. Fraudulent cover-ups. Contraband. Crime, grudge attack, dirty, really dirty, tone, this world is ruled by non-humans. What? Wait, what's that last bit? This world is ruled by non-humans.
What?
Yeah, see, it started the last line.
It does.
Know your conscience to rectify your sins.
So I'm going back and rereading, because there's a bit that's not a tone in that previous line.
Yeah, it says victims. Yeah, it's crimes, hate, grudge, attack, dirty, you're really dirty, atone, crime, victims, atone, this world is ruled by non-humans.
No, before crimes.
Uh-huh. Violence.
There's no V there.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be, and they missed it.
I was trying to figure out what seolence was.
Atonesolence, you know. It's like violence while you're atoning. Atonesolence. I'm so sorry! You're just hacking somebody down with a sword. Know the penalty of your sins. Herein lies the goodness of man, so plentiful that he is unaware of the totality of what he's exposed to. Know the violence used to cover up the crime. Come, see the violence inherent in the system. Know the authority that hides the crime.
Help, I'm being repressed.
The malignancy of man is here, so rare and so hard to find that it stands out in sharp relief. 100 benign, 1 malignant. To balance it out, the malignant shines strong and reigns as a mighty and victorious evil. I thought that said mighty and taco for a second. To compensate with the benign masses, the 5 starting penalties.
How did you
I don't know.
out of this shit?
I have not the slightest idea.
Although I do also love the idea of a mighty and taco evil.
It reigneth, the evil reigns as the mighty and taco evil. To compete with the benign masses. The masses are so benign, I must become taco. It's the only way.
The only thing about this round I have enjoyed at all is our inability to read what's on the screen.
So anyway, do we remember the 5 starting penalties before we go back over there? Other than that they ended with,
It ends with
fiance.
fiance.
Yeah.
But actually, finance was one of them.
No, fiance was one of them.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Fiance then. Deny. For you. Solicitation, fraud, theft, robbery, kidnapping, self-harm, tyranny, arson, infringement. Everything is dirty, atone, violence, crime, victims atone, die to atone! Fucking do it! Oh god.
Oh god!
My epilepsy. My brain's gonna explode. The mud eating away at my body doesn't peel off. It mercilessly robs me of my warmth.
Yay, death.
I feel the horrible curse crushing all of my senses. Crushing me.
Oh no, I'm so upset.
Darkness I can't look at directly. How am I supposed to become a taco like this?
Or deal with the great evil that is
Fiancé.
fiancé.
Ugliness I can't acknowledge from my fiance. Crimes I want to run from.
Committed by my
fiance.
fiancé.
Right. All man's sins.
Become taco.
All man's sins are taco. I'm going to die. But I'm gonna be very eloquent about it. Anyone caught in this darkness wouldn't be able to resist letting it devour them. Just from the sheer pain and disgust and sweet, delicious taco-y flavor. But Kodomine said it once. The curse is what killed Kiritsugu. That's enough to banish the darkness. Heat returns to my body.
That's creepy.
Blood rushes through me, wounded as I am, and helps me get back to my feet. And why not? I mean, Kiritsugu Emiya shouldered all this for years. Did he die? His own wishes unfulfilled because those voices never stopped screaming at him to atone?
Yeah, probably.
He said he wanted to be a champion of justice. He ran around like an idiot, trying to be useful to someone, and in the end, nobody let him do what he wanted to do. Even so, he still pursued something, the ideals he'd given up on. And then, in the end, the words of some silly kid lifted a burden from him, and he finally let himself believe that everything would be okay. In other words, Shiro killed Kiritsugu. I have to stand up. I said I was going to take his place and carry on his dream. If I really am the son of Kiritsugu Emiya, the champion of justice, I can't let... He's claiming Kiritsugu's the champion of justice.
I know, but he's also saying that he has to fight on in his... to continue to pursue those virtues because of Kiritsugu, and
At any rate, I can't let the bad guy beat me.
There is one champion of justice, and you are not a magical girl, Shiro Emiya.
Not in this route. Tosaka told me. I need to win even if it kills me. Especially if it kills me. Saber told me. Kodomine is the enemy I have to defeat. Even Kodomine said, if I'm gonna fight, I should put my life on the line. That's right. What can I put on the line here if not my life?
No, that is not me being sexist. It is entirely possible to be a male magical girl. Korean Zombie Death Cards proves that.
True story.
But
Ayamu was a male magical girl.
I have no issue with male magical girls. I have issue with him trying to claim he's a champion of justice when he's not a magical girl. If he were a male magical girl, that would be fine.
And then you'd have to kick things with a chainsaw.
Kick is a strong word. Although that was routinely the joke, so...
That was the joke. I don't have anything else to offer anyways. It's a lot of H's. I desperately leap out of the mass of black mud. I can hear his surprise. My throat is burning. Every breath is like swallowing glass. Why would you know that?
Wasn't there a kid in Baka Test, a male student in Baka Test that dressed up like a magical girl once too? Or more accurately, got dressed up as a magical girl, because that tended to be the way things went for him.
I mean, maybe. I don't care. Tears of frustration stream down my face. I might just burst from the sheer anger before the curse can tear me apart. The hell are you, a protagonist?
Unfortunately, yes.
I thought I was the protagonist, damn it!
Nope.
I push my body, forcing it to run. One hand goes behind my back. I grip the dagger I've been concealing this whole time. Joke's on you! I never had a plan! I run. Kotomine sticks his hand into the waterfall behind him and draws out another lump of darkness.
That's not a taco.
Maybe it is. Maybe the lump is taco shaped. There's no hesitation now. If I get my hands on Kotomine, he will regret what he's just said more than anything else. I still have a command spell on my left hand. I don't know if I'm alive or dead, but that is the proof, and I can feel the truth of it. As long as I still have my command spell, Saber's still with me. If she's still here, she must have defeated Gilgamesh and be headed to me right now.
Debatable.
And if I don't greet her with open arms when that happens, well, I know her enough to know she'll be mad. She'll say to me, Shiro, I am disappointed. So I'm gonna beat you here and now.
Because after all, I'm a teenager and in love with her. So we're gonna end up married, even though fiance is one of the great evils.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe they just won't get engaged. They'll just skip straight to marry. And then they never were fiance, and therefore, they skip that bit, right? To fulfill the promise I made to her. Darkness closes in on me.
Night falls.
Kotomine releases a giant mass of curse. Fuck! My
You
body
just speak to the microphone. Usually I'm the only one that does that.
My body begins to crumble, starting with the extremities. I won't look away.
Okay, so I desperately want someone to create a mod for literally any video game I play that just replaces all the pain sounds with the ridiculous things you say when there's like letters on screen. I think that'd be hilarious, like chopping through bandits in Skyrim, and that's what I hear as they die.
Have you seen? I'm sure you have. Have you seen the videos that the one guy did for a while, where he was like running all of Skyrim's like text and dialogue through like 400 layers of Google Translate, and you had people they like dying just going hello.
Yep. They turned that into a mod
I
so
know.
other people can play
it's
Skyrim
great.
that way. I keep debating.
Do it.
I keep
Do
debating
it.
it.
How do you not want to hang out with the Jarl Huge Balls? If this is my role, I'm not done yet. Storyline of drug dealing was amazing. I know, right? Meanwhile, back over here, Saber's still getting a new Licht in the face. A fault line splits space itself.
Still holding back.
With a flash and a roar of wind, Aya releases a vortex of pure destruction. The sheer intensity prevents Saber from using her own noble phantasm, mostly because she dropped her sword on the floor. I didn't forget! So she lowers her sword. You already dropped it! And lets herself sway as if collapsing. Were you gonna Matrix this? You just Neo-dodge it backwards? The light draws near. Saber's too injured to dodge, and there's no shield capable of defending against Aya's attack. That furious dance of light and wind can only annihilate everything in its path. Nothing can stand up to Aya. It is an immutable fact. Tell that to a single invulnerability stack in Grand Order.
I'm just gonna throw this out here too. Saber, you're kind of the co-protagonist. You're gonna be fine. You may not realize it, but your sheath is not the only bullshit MacGuffin hack you have. You have something called plot armor.
Both of them knew
When
it to
we're
be
not
true.
dead. Anyway.
A few hours ago. For once, that astonished cry comes not from Saber, but from the Golden Knight wielding Aya. Aya continues to release its torrent of magical energy, unleashing a ravening. Caw, bitch! A ravening beam of destruction.
Don't you do that! You know I've been working on a replay of Valgard to get those, which by the way I got the last couple of achievements. I've officially 100%ed the game, but I was playing as an Antivan Crow. Don't you dare mock
Caw,
my
bitch! But Saber is on her feet, stepping into the light of Aya's power. Her silver armor screams, "Ah!"
So here's the thing. My Origins game, and I don't know if it's a like PC operating system error.
Willow
or something.
broke her version of Origins. She can't play it anymore.
I literally don't have mods installed at the moment. I've uninstalled and reinstalled the game to clear any mods that were there. My game crashes every time I try to re-enter Ostagar after getting the blood for the joining. I literally can't get past the first hour of the game.
Willow literally cannot play the game anymore. Cracks splinter every layer of magical energy protecting her.
I could replay
With not a second to lose, she closes the gap between herself and Gilgamesh.
but 2 is literally the worst game in the franchise. And Inquisition, I 100%ed. Although it is objectively my favorite game in the series. Sorry, not sorry, Origins.
And then she got Excalibur off the floor.
And she just been saying she didn't have the energy to do this?
Don't worry about it. To counter Aya's destruction, Saber releases every drop of power at her command.
But yeah, no, I would love to be able to replay Origins. It just doesn't work.
Searching heat. Searching heat?
That is what it says.
Surely you meant searing heat, right? Anyway, searching heat scorches the earth in all directions in a brilliant flash of light. Is it hot over here? Is it hot over here? I am searching for the heat. Where is it?
Just Saber off to the side with an infrared scanner. There's the hot spot.
Just a FLIR thermal imaging camera. Just like, where is it? Found you. Die, heat. Two titanically powerful swords clash. Their power is so vast it creates a visible border as the two struggle against each other in a Dragon Ball Z ass beam clash. But is it all for nothing?
She's Got the Power and Power of Love are still two of my all-time favorite fight scene pieces of music.
I mean, they're both good. I don't think either of them is quite as good of a fight scene piece of music as The Prayer.
Fight scene, that's chase scene.
Oh no, you're right, sorry. There were people trying to fight in it, though.
There were, but that's arguably my favorite thing about Quest for Camelot, is that is literally what The Prayer was written for.
Yeah. It was written for that movie.
They put it over a chase scene.
They did.
Which I can kind of understand starting it with, Mom watching her flee, but surely you could have let her actually be safe.
No.
While that song was playing.
No, absolutely not.
Because that would have been more meaningful, and have her be safe. Have Mom be the one dealing with the shit. Like, I feel like that's the correct way to animate that scene.
Absolutely not. Under no circumstances.
Quest for Camelot's another one of those movies that I actually kind of low-key love watching. It's bad. It's a bad movie.
It's a great movie.
But it's great to watch.
So can I come with you? Sure. You're just singing a whole song about why she can't, and suddenly it's fine? What? Excalibur cannot beat Aya. Even if Saber risks her life and attacks without concern for the consequences, she can only push back just the smallest bit. The scales tilt in favor of Aya, and Excalibur's light weakens, pushing Saber back. The Golden Knight draws Aya back, but then sees his enemy's renewed, reckless advance, so he pours yet more magical energy into it. There's no turning back now. All there is to do is use his full power to utterly annihilate Saber. Aya's segments spin faster, 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 reaching their maximum speed, and the light that envelops Saber cuts Excalibur down. But in the instant before that happens, Saber charges. That'll be $15, please.
I read changes and I was very confused.
Suddenly she's wearing a swimsuit. A tiny opening created by Excalibur's power allows her to take a single step closer. In the instant she reaches that space, her noble phantasm appears. Darkness buffets Shiro as if he were caught in a wind tunnel. And then suddenly bees appear and he's fine. There's no avoiding or deflecting darkness that coats space itself.
I'm sorry, my brain, because of the earlier discussion of Inuyasha, is just picturing Miroku using the wind tunnel. and not that ever worked for him.
Well, no, because
ever.
I swear, like Naraku, I was telling Baz this yesterday when we were watching through. It was like, I think it would have been really funny for Naraku to just like make an entire incarnation whose sole purpose was to just kind of follow Moroku around with a beehive, and anytime he ever tried to open the wind tunnel, just bees! Suddenly bees. Those swallowed by the darkness can only be consumed by it.
You gotta admit, though, that does kind of sound like something Naraku would do. He was a real petty bitch.
He's corroding from the fingertips inward. Ouch.
Corroding?
Corroding.
But...
Corroding.
Yeah, but... It just...
Corroding.
I feel like they could have picked a better word.
No, they absolutely used the word they intended to. His legs kick at the air as if swimming. His outstretched arms are swallowed up in the black mud. His vision fails him.
But they keep describing it as mud.
Uh-huh.
It's not acid. Like, pick a descriptor, game.
It's like being erased. Shiro feels himself shrinking, but he refuses to die. He tries not to look away, pours every ounce of strength he has into resisting. He fights the darkness covering him, the pain trying to melt his body, and the curse trying to dissolve his mind.
Which, for some reason, keeps picturing him in a dojo with Taiga. Telling him he needs to go back in time and be nicer to Saber.
And Ilya also reiterating that point. It's all in vain. No human could resist this corruption. Unless they did, though.
But you're not human. You're formerly part metal sheath. It's fine.
And yet, he continues to move. His arm is still raised, held out, trying to grab something. But his heart is already broken. His thoughts are smothered in darkness, and soon it will consume him. But in that moment... Why did he remember that voice? A light in the darkness. The moment he realizes it's that light, everything runs in reverse. The switch flips. His thoughts gain speed, creating crackling sparks and form the shape with astonishing speed. He murmurs the spell to begin projection. In that instant, it's complete, skipping every step of the manufacturing process. He didn't need to reproduce it from scratch. The shape had already been engraved onto his very soul. It had been a part of Shiro Emiya for so long that he'd perfectly memorized it.
Great, now they both have bullshit immortality hacks. Who could have seen that coming?
His fingertips, desperately reaching, move again. Oh, God, I love this music. It's so good. They grab hold of the object he created without concentration or spell casting. The world turns on its head. Darkness eradicated by golden light. in Shiro's grasp, duplicated flawlessly as Saber's sheath.
Congratulations, you spawned your own condom.
And so, as Aya's all-destroying light burns away everything in its path, Saber releases her own noble phantasm. What appears before her is, without question, the sacred sword's sheath. The mystics which shroud it are unknown, but the sheath repels Aya's light. No, this is beyond simply defending its wielder. Instead, it cuts her off completely. The wall that keeps the filth of the outside world from fairyland, a world that cannot be reached, forever isolated from the rest of the world. Saber is protected by the sheath of the sacred sword, and for a moment, she exists apart from all reason and logic in the world. It is the greatest protection in the world. No one can get pregnant when using this sheath. Nothing, not even the 5 magics, can pierce this perfect defense. I don't know about that. And so the sheath is named Avalon.
Of course it does.
Avalon. It is the place King Arthur is said to have gone after dying. The utopia the king dreamed of, but could not yet reach. Gilgamesh sees the Grim Reaper raising its scythe. But it's too late. Ea won't stop rotating, and Gilgamesh can't retreat. How could he? Who could ever have believed an attack with so much magical energy, such unimaginable power, could be blocked?
Fire con.
That's no fair having a shield! How dare you! And also her armor's gone. A streak of blue surges forward. Saber's armor is gone. She's shed her armor so she can use its magical energy in her sword. Point blank Excaliblast to the chest, motherfucker! Probably the single most metal Excaliblast in all of Fate, with her just like releasing it point blank in Gil's chest. The moment he takes the sheath, the darkness is dispelled. The darkness surrounding Shiro Emiya, the darkness that... I don't know what that said.
Sorry.
Contaminated his body, fades all at once. But this should come as no surprise. The sacred sword sheath protects its owner. That filthy mud couldn't possibly destroy the embodiment of the utopia the girl sought. He runs. In the instant the darkness is dispelled, he moves with all the speed of a comet. Projection? Who the hell uses projection? That shit is weak! The priest, so assured of his own strength, and the boy who could afford no such arrogance face off. It is but an instant, but that instant decides the battle.
I poke him with a sheath.
Shiro Emiya runs, sometimes stumbling onto all fours.
And the sentient embodiment of being an actual literal dick can't take being condomed.
In one hand, he holds the dagger. He scrambles forward on his hands and knees.
Oh yeah,
toward
he
the
has the
priest.
dagger.
Yeah, Rin gave it to him. And then he stabs Kirei in the chest. Shiro doesn't stop. He thrusts the dagger of retribution into the priest's chest. The priest turns, slowly.
What the fuck is that face?
That's the face of, oh fuck, I've been stabbed by a dagger.
Can we just take a second? The fuck is that face? Mouth, straight line. Eyes, size of $50. Nostrils flared. Hand like this.
You know, it kind of reminds me of Olmec from like Legends of the Hidden Temple.
A little, actually.
Takeuchi was off his game when he drew that one, I think. Before he can leave. Shiro, say the thing! Shiro steps down on one foot to ground himself and turns in a circle using the momentum of his dash. He inverts himself like a top, and he floods his left hand with magical energy.
So he's upside down?
Yes.
But if he's flooding... Well, I suppose if he's spinning like a top, then he's on his head. What the fuck is wrong with you, Shiro? I mean, I know I've been saying that literally the entire game, but the fuck? It's not time to break dance!
You always gotta break dance in the final battle.
No, you don't!
Shiro is a master of capoeira, as it turns out.
It's really unnecessary.
And like a whirlwind, he punches the dagger with his fist.
But you were upside down!
Jumping off the ceiling.
I hate you.
You're welcome.
So much. I have no words.
You don't understand, Willow. His grades were down from A's to B's.
You're a monster.
Coach.
Absolute monster.
I am a monster. Coach. The first mankind all over the world.
That would be a wonderful palate cleanser between.
But listen, I've done it for stream before. Anytime. I love that game so much. His magical energy pours into the Azoth blade, along with the word to trigger its release. New servant data added. Saber swings her golden sword. She must not have had the energy to push herself back up. Saber keeps her sword down, head down. Gil stares wide-eyed at the knight as she cuts him in half. In the silence after, the wind whispers through the compound. Hey, good job, Saber. You didn't die. There remains not a trace of the light that had flooded the area seconds ago. The two knights do not exchange words. They simply stand, facing each other as the battle ends. How Gil is standing with his torso cut in half, I don't understand.
That's the music that needs to be playing in my brain right now. You are an absolute monster.
Lead her to a place. Guide her with your grace. To a place where she'll be safe.
Not any more helpful.
I know. It's great. Gilgamesh sighs. Is that what Nga is supposed to be, is a sigh? He lifts a hand and traces a finger along her cheek, as if to check the knight.
憎らしい女だ。最後までこの俺に歯向かうか。
Bitch, you cut me in half. His golden armor begins to fade. The bloody king of heroes starts to disappear. The bloody king of heroes starts to disappear.
手に入らぬからこそ美しいものもある。
See, he's not completely irredeemable.
I forgive you for killing me, you bitch.
Pretty bitch.
His finger slips away from her. The arm he'd raised to touch her falls weakly. Just once a week, it just falls.
I don't know why my brain just went to this place. But
A place where she'll be safe?
No. But when I made the statement pretty bitch, for whatever reason, Trixie Tang from Fairly Odd Parents.
Tell me I'm pretty!
Yes! That is exactly where my brain went when she's having that mental breakdown when she and Timmy are the only two people in Dimsdale.
But what about Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome?
No.
The Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale
Now,
Dimmadome.
hold my books and tell me like...
ならばこそ俺がお前に敗れるは必要だったか。
He clicks his tongue in displeasure. And then, at the end,
ではな、騎士王。いや、なかなかに楽しかったぞ。
he smiles, ironically, and vanishes. It was my own fault for not actually going serious mode.
I should have A'd harder.
Yes, he should have. Pale blue sparks flicker along the priest's form.
Perfect. Showed up at stream to an end.
And then... But then, they spread in all directions from where the dagger protrudes from his chest.
If you'd gotten here a couple minutes earlier, you could have come into me shouting, "Now carry my books and tell me I'm pretty."
Mona! Barrow! She had a couple of really great ones over time, huh? No flesh falls away, and there is no sign of bleeding. Even so, the battle comes to an end. He's not even looking at me. Well, yeah, his eyes went like fucking...
His eyes were the size of $50, and then he got stabbed.
He also went inverse cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Instead, he stares down at the dagger in his chest in confusion.
Hey, that's Reen.
Hey, where'd you get that from? I gave that to Reen. And I killed her.
And I mildly looked for it before fleeing, from what Reen was saying. That he'd been looking for something other than just Ilya.
The wind is blowing. A gust of wind blows from the hollow overhead, muffling the sound around him.
I misheard you. I heard, and it wasn't a misread, it was a mishear. I heard a gust of wind flows from the hollow of her head.
That too. In the silence that follows...
なぜお前がこの剣を持っている
Oi!
I mean, it's a dagger.
Oi! I gave that to Reen! Kotomine's voice is low, mumbling.
それは俺のじゃない。遠坂から預かったものだ。
I'm not sure how long he was thinking. He takes a deep breath and finally moves, having been motionless from the moment I charged him and impaled him with the blade.
そうか以前気まぐれでどこぞの娘にくれてやったことがあったあれは確か10年
You know, shortly after getting her dad murdered.
I was like, hey, Tiger, your dad died in the war, but I got you a pretty knife. Doesn't that make it all better? Anyway, I'm gonna train you in Magecraft and Baji Quan now.
私も衰えるはずだ
Kotomine collapses. I watch it all unfold.
Is he accusing Rin of being why he's weak?
I think so, yes. Even on the brink of death, he spoke of himself as if he were talking about someone else. Finally, the priest sinks into that which he summoned, the very thing he wished for. Goop.
Gwyneth Paltrow would be so pleased.
Let us not forget the primary way that they described this mud in the first place. Carpet. You'd forgotten, hadn't you? About them describing it as carpet and the carpet snakes that. And that is the end of Kirei Kotomine. Drowned in carpet. Like the scrub lord he was.
Oh, but then Rin's knife!
The true end of a long battle. With the enemy defeated, only one task remains. The dark hollow in the sky.
Wait, though.
Uh-huh.
So if he's saying he gave Reen that knife about 10 years ago.
Yep.
And Reen said last stream that the knives get given to mages when they've completed their training.
Uh-huh.
So he killed her dad and then went, "Here, you're a mage now."
Essentially.
So he didn't really train her. He just gave her a knife and said, "Goodbye, see you 10 years from the Ground War."
No, he kind of just did it in reverse order. He was like, here's a knife. Now let's do the training that you get to earn it.
So he's almost as shit a teacher as Kiritsugu.
Except that he actually taught Reen how to do magecraft.
Well, she also had journals and notebooks left by generations of Tosakas who also knew how to do magecraft.
Yes, but he did actually also teach her, as opposed to Kiritsugu, who taught Shiro wrong intentionally, as a joke. The mud has stopped pouring from it, but that eerie void continues to quicken.
Strange way to spell carpet.
It's the Holy Grail! Da-na-na-na-na! The omnipotent grail said to be given to the winner of this war. See? It's right there. It's a hole. The wind howls. A castle moves.
Chat says no, Kirei, despite being a total bastard, was a phenomenal guardian to Rin, unironically.
Yeah, no, he was a really good father figure for, like, her younger years. Even though, you know, he was the reason she didn't have a dad. But anyway, with Kotomine gone, the power binding Ilya vanishes. Ilya has been released from the hollow, and so she sleeps beside me. She doesn't seem to be in danger of dying. She'll probably wake up after we go home and have Tosaka look her over. The war has ended. No one else will get hurt. We won't have to lose anyone else now. No more masters, and the servants will disappear now that their roles are Fuck, my servant! I knew this was going to happen. I climbed those long stairs with her earlier. We've already said our goodbyes. All that's left is to bring the curtain down on this whole war.
I don't know how much moral compass Priest Man had. He kept children tied up to a magic machine to feed a guy that didn't need to be there. That he also stole from her dad. I don't think he has a solid moral compass.
No, but he played at having one really well, and that's what Reen kind of inherited. I look up at the hollow and wait, my heart as empty as that void. Yeah, Gil and or Kirei could have just absolutely, like, fucking annihilated this if they'd actually taken it seriously at any point. The only reason Gil or Kirei lost this fight is because they were fucking around. You know the old saying, fuck around and find out? Never is that more true than Gilgamesh. The only reason Gil ever loses is because he fucks around and finds out. And then she appears. She walks straight toward me, looking no different than when we first met.
She's not wearing armor, so she does look different.
Maybe she put it back. She stops once we're close enough to touch each other. We neither ask about each other's well-being nor offer any congratulations. This hat... This has already been decided. This hat... There's only one thing left to do.
聖杯を破壊します。それが私の役割です。
Saber starts walking forward. The strong winds coming from the hollow do not deter her. She approaches one step at a time. She's within range. She quietly readies her sword and looks up at the black hollow. I just watch from where I stand. I clench my fists so hard they bleed. I bite my lip and I try to hold back the feelings fighting for expression. I try to burn the image of her into my mind. And then...
マスター、命令を。あなたの命がなければ、あれは破壊できない。
Her back still to me, she tells me to use my final command spell. Except this time it only takes one. The last time she had to do this, it took two. When the Holy Grail is destroyed, Saber will disappear. Now, since Saber will destroy the Holy Grail with her own hands, she won't have to become a servant. Incorrect. Alaya's not gonna let her get away with that. She only became a servant because she sought the Holy Grail. Destroying the Holy Grail should also void her contract, since she'll have chosen to do it. The moment she destroys the Holy Grail, her life will end, but she will remain king forever.
シロ、あなたの声で聞かせてほしい。
I hear Saber. Every time I hear her voice, I want to scream. I want to tell her not to go. I want to scream my real, honest desire. I want her to stay. And yet, I can't ever say that.
Look who's finally starting to realize that you can't tell her what she wants.
It only took the entire game, the entire round, for Shiro to finally understand how to not be a dick.
And he's still fighting the urge to be a dick.
But he is fighting it, and that's character growth at a tremendous level for Fate Route Shiro fucking Emiya.
Yeah, but we've got, what, 10 minutes of game left?
Oh, more than that. There's an epilogue. I love Saber. I want her to be happy more than anything else, and I want to be with her forever. But if I really love her, then that's not what I should be doing.
Look who finally got the fucking point!
I love Saber for fighting her hardest, even when she was wounded. She gave up everything, and while she was torn apart, she still held to her conviction, even to the very end. If I think that's beautiful, if I think that's something worth protecting, then I can't destroy everything she stood for just for my own happiness. She was born a king, and that's how she lived. Nothing can change that. From the moment she drew the sword and made her vow, she was king. Nothing else. That is her conviction. She fought her battles until the very end, believing she was doing the right thing. The dream of a young girl named Artoria. She abandoned her own life and chose to be king. She chose to fight. Even when she was told that everything she does would go unrewarded, she still wielded the sword and kept to her vow as king. That lasted for many years. I can't do anything to tarnish the pride she held to until her final moments.
セイバー、その責務を果たしてくれ。
My voice is heavy with emotion. Light flares around us.
And no armor still. So she definitely didn't show up looking the exact same way she did the first time you saw her. You bastard that doesn't pay attention to anything other than pretty face. Thank you for confirming you're every bit the scumbag I've thought you to be the entire route.
The brilliant ray cuts the hollow in front of us in half, leaving no trace of it. Nothing remains. The mountain summit has been blasted away, leaving only a smoldering wasteland behind.
I read the mountains submit to being blasted away.
That too. The church is gonna have a hell of a time explaining this gas leak in the morning.
Gas leak.
It's a gas leak. It blew up the entire top of the mountain. In the distance, the first rays of dawn light the sky. Hey, my armor's down here. Saber, probably. A glimmer of gold peeks over the horizon. It's Gil! He's not dead! My left hand hurts. The final command spell disappears. And then, I accept that it's finally over.
これで終わったのですね。
You knew what's on your screen.
I don't know.
Or is that just a really wonky shaped cloud?
I don't know.
It's not on the stream feed, so something's wrong with your screen.
Huh. Let's have an investigate real quick.
Careful!
No, that's on the image.
But it's not on this image. I don't think. It might be, maybe.
No, it's there.
Why?
I don't know.
What is...
I don't know.
Okay. Hear me out. I want to see if the text extends that far down the screen. Because I'm wondering if it was like a slash mark from a kanji that for whatever reason they didn't delete.
Well, even if it was, the English text might not extend that far down the screen. Who knows?
I mean, sure. But
I
that's the only reason I can think of there to be a black line in the middle of a cloud for no apparent reason.
I don't know. I mean, you do have to advance the text for us to find out, though.
これで終わりだ。もう何も残ってない。
Either that or they decided to put a single...
Oh.
Okay, it's a singular
では
bird in the
私たちの
distance.
契約もここまでですね。
Maybe.
あなたの剣となり、敵を撃ち、近江を守った。この約束を果たし。
そうだな。セイバーはよくやってくれた。
I don't know what else to say. Saber is far away. I don't try to run to her. The sun rises. The wind starts to pick up. A golden glimmer shines, seeming to last forever. In it,
最後に一つだけ伝えないと。
I can hear the determination in her voice.
まあ。飛んだ。
I try to at least sound strong. Saber sways. She turns. Saber looks straight at me and says, her voice clear,
シロ、あなたを愛している。
You've known him 8 days.
14 actually, but
Still.
also,
2 weeks.
Also, did you catch it?
I did.
That was Aishiteru.
I did.
Yeah.
Again, you've known him 2 weeks.
Yeah, but her sheath has been inside of him for 10 years.
Bullshit.
Her large metal rod has been inside of him for 10 years.
Still bullshit.
Goddamn dick wizards. She said it. The wind blows over the mountaintop. That doesn't exist anymore because it was blown up. For a moment, I close my eyes, blinded by the morning sun. Then I open them again.
And she's gone.
I don't think I was surprised. I just had a feeling. Our goodbye was always gonna be like this. All I see is the wasteland. Saber's gone, carried off by the gusting wind. Just like when she appeared. She left with grace, without a trace.
本当にお前らしい。
There's no regrets in my voice. Every memory, both of what I've lost and what I've gained, remains in my heart. I'll keep them all there, forever.
Are you watery-eyed?
No. I look out at the rising sun, hoping I never forget any of this. That none of it fades from my mind for a long time to come.
Honestly, it's just a trope I'm super sick of. It's like I liken it to the train station trope of there's a fast-moving train and, you know, in one gap between train cars, nothing's there, and then suddenly Dumbledore. But it happens in way too many franchises. Dumbledore's just the first example of it that came to my mind.
You put your name in the Goblet of Fire!
Stop,
Dumbledore asked calmly.
stop peeking your microphone. That's my job. But I also don't love the love at first sight trope. And the thing is that, you know, I think lust at first sight is a thing. I think love takes longer to develop. That...
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
No. That real love should be something that you have to work at, that grows and develops with time, and that can't be rushed. Now, I realize that the other thing is that relationships that develop in extreme circumstances, from a social work and psychology perspective, tend not to be healthy. Because there's always a trauma trigger to them. And while those relationships can be tremendously strong, to be healthy, there needs to be a meaningful period of development apart before coming back together again. At least if there wasn't an established and strong relationship prior to the trauma. So their entire relationship is based in trauma, which means that objectively, in a world based in principles from reality, their relationship would crumble hard and fast outside of trauma scenarios, unless they took a substantial amount of time to work on themselves and just be platonic friends first, because otherwise they're just feeding off of each other in ways that don't function well.
You guys, she's gonna love the true ending of the game. At the end of all 3 routes.
So that's exactly my point, though, is when all the high stress pressures disappear, suddenly life outside of those is boring, but it takes only one small thing to trigger you back into that fight, flight, freeze. High trauma relationships are really, really, really difficult to manage because of that.
I mean, happy ending UBW is the best ending in Stay Night, for sure. I watched the morning glow spreading over the distant land below. It reminds me of the golden fields she'd fought on. Witness. Epilogue.
Epiluge.
Epilogue. I hear a creaking sound. It's the old, heavy, rusted door of the shed opening. Light pours in through the crack in the door. It's enough to wake me up.
Yay!
I don't even need to look to know who's approaching.
Oh, wait, no, senpai. Boo!
It must be that time already. I take a deep breath and open my eyes.
Hi, Sakura.
Hi, Sakura.
I'm glad you're not liquefied.
そろそろ時間ですよ。
そうみたいだ。おはよう、さくら。起こしに来てくれてサンキューな。
Howdy doody, Sakura.
お礼を言われることじゃありません。
Finally out of the hospital, are we?
先輩ならきちんと起きてくれるってわかっ。
そっか。けど、ならなんでわざわざ起こしに来てくれ
I
たの
didn't. I came to make sure Reed moved out.
わざわざじゃありません。今朝は先輩を起こしたくなって、いつもより30分も早起きしたんです。
By the way, how you doing
今
with
日
your
は特別な日
brother
ですから。
missing?
Probably better.
Probably better. Then I remember. That's right, it is a special day.
さくら、聞くまでもないと思うんだが、藤音はまだ来てないよな。
はい、内村先生はまだ。あ、でも、イリアちゃんは先に来てます。
Ilya!
Ilya's still here. I knew it. If Ilya's here, then that can mean only one thing.
まずい。さくら、すまないんだけど、朝食の支度を頼む。俺、ひとっ走りして藤音を叩き起こしてくれ。
Is Fujimura living at your house now? She has her own house.
ご苦労様です先輩。
I'm still not convinced this house isn't also just her house.
Luckily, I was up late last night, so I'm still in my work clothes. I'm glad I don't need to change to head out.
10分で戻るから、
Oh,
あとは
no,
よろし
you're
く頼む。
actually going to Fujimura's house. Okay.
任せちゃってください。あれ、シロ起きてる。
なあ、今起きた。 ちょっと藤根を起こしてくるから、さくらの手伝いをしてやってくれ。
I pat Ilya on the shoulders and head to the front entrance.
How have you not been turned into a plushie yet? How did you not piss Ilya off to the point of plushification?
やられた。もう、シロは私が起こしに行くって言ったでしょ。さくら。
Well, maybe you should have been up an hour earlier. Ilya fumes at Sakura as she stomps over to the shed. This sort of thing is hardly unusual anymore. Ilya said she wasn't going to return to her home country, so I talked to Fujine about taking her in. She was vehemently opposed and suggested that she would take Ilya in at her house. Since then, Ilya's been staying at the Fujimura house, and, of course, she's been coming over with Fujine mornings and nights. It goes without saying that they're coming for breakfast and dinner. The two have been living together for 2 months now, and they're practically joined at the hip.
Rumor has it they've even started a dojo?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The funniest part of this is Sakura unknowingly becoming friends with her brother's murderer. When I pass near the shed wall, I hear Sakura and Ilya talking. Ilya's pretty blunt, so I thought she wouldn't get along with Sakura, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They're like an odd couple. Ilya's energetic, while Sakura's more laid back. Seems they get along in spite of their differences. In fact, Sakura's regained her usual cheer thanks to Ilya. Ever since Sakura's older brother Shinji disappeared and was listed as missing, she'd stopped smiling. She must have sensed that he had something to do with the mass coma incident at school.
And then, the reason she started smiling hanging out with Ilya was Ilya told her in her blunt Ilya way, I kinda murdered the crap out of your brother. Sorry about that.
Fretting over Shinji, Sakura shut herself away. It was Ilya who forced her to get over it, and Sakura's her normal, cheerful self whenever she's with Ilya.
さくら、笑えるようになったよな。
I'm truly happy about that. Sakura's most herself when she's smiling that gentle smile of hers.
ひどいよ、イリアちゃん。何があっても起こしてって臨時ボーナスまであげたのにあげたのに。
Why would she need your pocket money? Ilya's loaded.
She has a castle. Fujine is in tears as she shovels breakfast into her mouth.
当然よ。タイガを待ってたら私まで遅れるし、給金分は義理を果たしたわ。あれ以上の働きを要求するなら、臨時じゃなくて基本給をアップさせることね。
私だけじゃなくおじい様からももらってるくせに、どうしてこの子は主戦度なのか。若い頃からお金にうるさいと周りの子に嫌われちゃうぞ。
I mean, cut off from her family, she's not really loaded anymore is the
何を
thing.
思われても関係ないもの。それよりタイガ、貸したお金ちゃんと返してよね。給料日5日前だったんでしょ。
なんでそんなこと知ってるのよ、あなた。
タイガに聞いたわ。お望みなら明細まで話してあげてよ。
Ah, good old Raiga. Unlike her more friendly relationship with Sakura, Ilya and Taiga are practically cats and dogs. Ilya gets really mean with Fujine. Even her smile reminds me of a certain someone's smirk.
返済は明日までね。できなかったらタイガのお小遣いから引いていくから。
おじい様、そんなことまであなたに話したの？
ええ、お昼はずっと一緒だもん。ライがね、タイガより可愛いって褒めてくれたわ。
Your grandpa likes me better than you.
どうしてくれるのよ、シロ。この子とんだ悪魔っ子じゃない。
Probably.
このままじゃ藤村組が乗っ取られるわ。
Well, you might remember I offered to take her in. You insisted you do it instead. More importantly, why does a grown woman still get an allowance from her grandfather? Because she's a Yakuza princess.
今日は早いんでしょ。ならここで待ってるからすぐに帰ってきてね。
努力する。留守番よろしくな、イリア。
いっそのことここの子になっちゃえバカ。
Is that permission? Because she'll take you up on that. Fujine sulks as she hides behind my back.
はいはい、タイガも気を引き締めなさいよね。外でシローに迷惑かけちゃダメなんだから。
Ilya shrugs off Taiga's comment. Looks like Fujine isn't really in a position to push back against Ilya.
じゃあ先に行ってるけどのんびり歩いて遅刻しちゃダメよシロー。
Fujine lets out an engine roar and disappears like a speeding bullet. She got her driver's license last month. Since then, she's been late for school a lot less often, but now she has a new nickname, Rocket Tiger. Rocket Driver. She's the only one who doesn't know about it. I stretch and take a deep breath. Sakura already left for school. She ate a pretty big bowl of rice this morning, so she must be pretty driven today. Today is a big day for the Kyoto Club. Now that she's the vice captain, Sakura must be really determined and enthusiastic today. Go to school too. Today is April 7th. Schools are starting the new school year, and the season has gone from the cold of winter to spring. It's been 2 months.
Not quite.
I feel like a lot has changed since she left, but the changes all seem minor. Winter's over and it's finally spring. That's the only thing that's changed. I might have grown and matured, but I'm not a different person or anything.
It's been 2 months.
So, not that much has changed. Shiro Emiya is still clumsily stumbling along in Kiritsugu's footsteps.
おはようエミヤくん。
Hey, look who's not
朝から
dead.
顔を合わせるなんて奇遇ね。
おっす。今日もいい天気だな、登坂。
I wave in greeting.
けど奇遇か？ここ最近よくニアミスするだろう。まあいや、そりゃ今までこう頻繁に出くわすことはなかったけど。
出くわすってあなたね。
Osaka narrows her eyes and glares at me, unhappy about how I phrased that. I don't think getting angry so early in the morning is good for
登
you.
坂、もしかして登校時間変えたのか？前はもうちょっと遅かっただろう。早すぎず遅すぎずって時間だっ
A
た。
wizard is never late.
そんなことないわよ。今まで顔を合わせなかったのは偶然でしょ。
Nor are they early. They arrive exactly when they intend to.
知ってる？エミヤくんと私の家、
Gandalf the
きっかり
Grey.
正反対の位置にあるの。だから普通に起きて普通に坂を降りれば。
Again, I've absorbed a lot of information about that series. I've never read or watched the movies for.
へえ。それは初耳だ。そうか、それなら確かに。
Wait a minute. That's only possible if our daily schedules are the same. For Tosaka to reach this intersection at this hour, she'd have to wake up at 6 in the morning. But
登
that's...
坂、お前眠くない？
I just come right out and say it.
何よその言い分。私は眠くもないし無理もしてな。なんだってそんなこと聞くわけ？あなた。
いや、お前朝弱かったから。寝不足で学校に行くと化けの皮が剥がれるぞ。授業中に居眠りなんかしたら大変だ。下手に起こそうものなら寝起きの悪魔みたいな顔した登坂が暴れるんだからな。
Like, who dares disturb my slumber? Kinda terrifying.
そんなことしないわよ。たかだか30分の早起きで不覚なんて取るものですか。
ほら早起きしてるじゃないか、やっぱり。
ああ、人の起床時間なんてどうでもいいでしょ。つまんない詮索をしてる暇があるならさっさと学校に行きなさい。
Tosaka huffs and looks away. She has a point, so I'm gonna let this go and just resume our walk to school. We walk up the hill. The townscape below has bloomed into a springtime scene. The breeze pleasant and the leaves of the cherry blossom tree planted near school dance on the wind from time to time. It makes me smile.
何？今週はほとんどバイトなの？まあ、エミヤくんの時間だから文句はないけど、そんなんで体壊さない？
いや、今日ぐらいは休みをもらったよ。
You should care about how much he's working. He owes you a fuck ton of money.
弓道部で新入部員の歓迎会をやるっていうから、イリアを連れて遊びに行こうかなと。
うわ、なんかさりげにすごい度胸してるわよね、あなたって。
なんかまずいか？イリアだって暇つぶ。
まずいわよ。まずいけど、そういうことなら私もお邪魔しようかな。イリアがいるなら退屈しないし、何より危なっかしくって放っておけない。
I'm grateful to hear her say that. Tosaka understands Ilya much better than Sokka or I do. It's not just that she periodically checks in on Ilya's health. Tosaka and Ilya are both proper mages. Ilya still doesn't fully understand that she needs to hide the fact that she's a mage, so Tosaka's been a great mentor for her in that regard. And so, things are starting to settle in their respective places. The new priest the church dispatched has already repaired most of the damage from the Holy Grail War, and we've more or less gone back into our ordinary lives. There are things lost that we can never get back, like the top of the mountain, yes, but the wounds are slowly healing, and I should be glad to know that some of the regrets I felt before are slowly fading.
けど、意外だったな。
Tosaka mutters under her breath. She looks down at the town, her tone serious.
意外だったって何が？
私、シロはもっと落ち込むと思ってた。しばらくは立ち直れないだろうなって思ってたのよ。
She's talking about the girl who's not with me now. It's been 2 months, and this is the first time we've brought up the golden-haired girl.
そうだな。俺もそうなるだろうって思ってた。その後のことなんて考えるだけでどうかしそうだった。
けど、蓋を開けてみれば、シロったら今まで通りだったでしょ。落ち込むどころの話じゃなくて、次の日にはもうケロリとしてた。その時にね、こいつ大丈夫かなとも思ったのよ。うまく言えないんだけど、次の日にはあっさり事故で死んじゃうような。
Well, he was very mortal at that point.
なんで平気なのにあっさり死ぬんだよ。
そういうこともあるの。人間ってのはね、何かの手違いで一生涯の目標を叶えちゃうと、それでぽっくりいくものなのよ。もう生きるのはいいやと思った途端、赤信号なのに車が突っ込んできたり、あっさりと階段から落ちたりするんだから。
Huh. That's a little hard to get my head around. I guess she's talking about dying after living a full life or resting in peace, maybe.
だから私はそれが心配だった。ああいう時はね、いっそ派手に落ち込んでくれた方が周りは安心するものなの。
She's not wrong.
Spectacularly depressed. It's like, I'm so depressed.
But again, she's not wrong.
なんだ。じゃあ落ち込んでたら慰めてくれたのか、まさか。
まさか。背中に蹴り入れて1日で立ち直らせてやったわよ。それができなくて残念だって話。
But very Reen.
Yes. And I should say that from like a social work and behavioral health perspective, sometimes people need that. Like, someone to just look at them and go, just stop.
Fucking get over it.
Like, sometimes you need that. Just as a, like, reminder that, hey, dumbass, the world's moving on without you. You need to get it together. Can sometimes be the kick in the pants that a person needs to actually start trying to get it together. not necessarily that fixes all the problems, but it can get you on the right track to fix it.
She turns away, displeased. It's so funny, I can't help but burst into laughter.
何よ、おかしい？
いや、とにかく遠坂らしい厳しいセリフだったんで安心した。
We continue walking, enjoying the spring sunshine. The hilly road is long, and it looks as if it continues into the endless blue sky. Then she brings something else up, surprisingly casually.
じゃあもう未練はないんだ。セイバーがいなくなってもさ。
Her eyes are on the sky as she speaks.
未練なんて
I don't have any regrets,
Stubborn.
I think.
I'm not trying to put up a front. I even surprised myself with how at peace I sound. Nothing was left unsaid, so I don't regret anything. Everything went into the moment we said goodbye. What I wanted to do.
What kind of movies was Rena watching where somebody just dies when they somewhat feel at peace? Mean Girls. The bus.
Yeah. What she dreamed. Maybe we were both stubborn, and maybe I really should have grabbed her hand and made her dream come true.
What year did Mean Girls come out? Is it theoretically possible she just watched Mean Girls? I accidentally hit the rewind button. What year did Mean Girls come out? Year did Mean Girls?
It was in the noughties at some point.
Oh.
First decade of the 2000s.
April 30th, 2004.
It's possible. I'm not... Yeah, we can... Nothing was left unsaid. Yeah, we got through that too, right? Yeah. Maybe we were... Yeah, I read that line too. Yep. But there was something we both felt was beautiful, and we both desperately tried to protect it until the very end. I have no regrets. As she properly ended her time, I can't let myself be stuck in those memories forever.
ふん。シローの中では決着だから落ち込むこともなく、思い出に浸ることもないってわけ。
けど今も夢に見る。これがいつか記憶が薄れて、あいつの声もあいつの仕草も忘れていく。それでもこんなことがあったと。セイバーっていうやつが好きだったって
You
こと
never
だけ
forget
は
your first hot blonde
ずっ
European
とずっと
girlfriend.
覚えてる。
Tosaka doesn't say a thing. But for some reason she looks elated. She's practically skipping now.
どうしたんだよ遠坂。そんなに急いで。なんかあったのか。
I'm just glad to know you're over her. Now I've got you all to
ただ
myself.
早く学校に着きたいなってさ、そういうわけだからシローも急ぐ。のんびりしてると置いてくわよ。
Reen's like, yeah, I can get him on the rebound. She turns around and I don't know.
And starts to run up the
朝
hill.
弱いくせに無理して。
I grumble, then sling my bag onto my shoulder and run to catch up. It's only 7:30 in the morning. It's too early for students who aren't involved in any club activities, but I guess there's nothing wrong with getting to school early. I run up the hilly road that seems to stretch into the sky, and I reach the school earlier than usual. Today is the first day of the school year. If I want to celebrate, I need to shake off old memories. Remnants of my memory will never go away. But I still need to go on, even if the emptiness in my heart makes me cry.
Get over it. I promise I'm a good social worker, guys.
The blue sky is off in the distance. It feels so close. But even if I reached out, I could never grasp it. I've looked to the stars before. They're unreachable stars and unfulfilled wishes. Nothing of ours remains behind.
No, honestly, a fun guy, the city that I work in honored me last year for my work in the field.
Yeah, they didn't know what they were doing.
I I literally got an award from the city for being excellent at my job.
So someday my memories of her, even the image of her face, will disappear. And yet, even if I can't ever reach her, something will remain in our hearts. There may be nothing physical left, but we both shared time together and looked up at the same things. If I can remember that, I can believe that we're still together, even across such a great distance. Some things are bound to disappear, but others never will. So I'm gonna keep running. If I push far enough, I might one day reach what I was aiming for. The new beginnings of spring after the end of a harsh winter. I head up the hill under the same blue sky she looked up and saw. The battle is over. This is her final battlefield. The battle that split her country in half. I thought it was the other way around. And ended with the king's victory. Drama music. The knight runs to her. The battle is over. The blood-red sunset has faded, and now the darkness of night covers the battlefield. The hill is littered with corpses and curses. All that resentment tries to drag the survivors down with it. Through it all, the knight runs, breathless. He grips his horse's reins as the wounded white steed does its best to keep up. The knight and the white horse are the only survivors. Draped over the horse's back is the wounded king.
Oh, Asao, こちらに.
The knight must be wounded himself, but he runs with all his might. The king he serves is on the verge of death. Even after defeating the rival king in single combat, his king sustained a fatal wound. The knight knows there's no hope here. His king will die soon. He calls desperately to his king. Or perhaps the knight truly believes that his king is immortal. So long as they have the guidance of the sacred sword, the king will never perish. With labored breathing, the knight crosses the mountain of corpses and heads to a forest that has not yet been stained in blood, so that he can stain it in the king's blood. He knows of his king's immortality, so he believes that if he can only escape this cursed battlefield and lead the king somewhere pure, the king's wounds will be healed. Or rather, he hopes. Unlike the other knights, he always believed in his king. The king had always been isolated at court, shunned by the knights and feared by the people. But the knight was proud of the young king, who never revealed any personal feelings no matter the situation, and always remained idealistic. The knight did not serve his country, and that's why he entrusted his sword to his king, strove to aid his king, and rose to the position of the king's personal guard despite his young age. The king whose true face can never be seen. The boy tried to be fair and selfless and didn't allow his personal feelings to interfere with his duties. Rather, he hoped that if he could someday get close enough, he could see his king's real face. That is his greatest desire. He wants so much to see his king's true face, not the stern countenance the king bore on the battlefield, but his king's true face, a smiling, laughing, human face.
Such a shame Artori is an alien.
That moment would surely come in court, when the king is relieved of all duty. Even the most perfect king cannot be on edge all the time. The knight was proved wrong, though. What he learned defied his expectations. He reached the rank of Imperial Guard and stood at the king's side. He guarded the king more closely than any knight and always observed the king's behavior. But the moment he wished for never came. His king never smiled. Why does that make him so angry? The king should radiate glory, having achieved such success. But never once did the king seem at ease, even for a moment. He couldn't stand it.
I already hate where this plot line's going.
He wanted to believe this shouldn't happen. And so he wished for his king to be rewarded with light. This has yet to be accomplished. The king still remains solitary. And so the knight refuses to accept his king's death. It cannot end here. If it does, this great king will never be rewarded.
お、今はこちらに。すぐに兵を呼んでまいります。
Ah, OG Bedivere. Once they reach the forest, the knight leans his king's body against a large tree. It's a race against time. Even riding hard on horseback, it'll take half a day to bring back the troops they left at the harbor. Any who see the king now would know that the king will not last until dawn.
どうか、それまで辛抱。必ず兵を連れて戻ります。
The knight bows to his half-conscious king and returns to his white steed.
ベリビエル。
Wait, is this a different VA for Bedivere than they have in Grand Order? I feel like he's not this deep-voiced in Grand Order. Before he can leave, the king he thought unconscious calls out to him.
おう、意識が戻られましたか。
少し夢を見ていた。
The king's voice is faint, but there's warmth in it.
夢ですか。
The knight's voice is imploring. The king's life is balanced on the tip of a blade. The darkness will surely take his king if the knight doesn't respond.
Sorry, I need to Google something. Sorry, I know the game's paused. I'm looking something up.
Wolu really just wants to take an extra week with this game, that's all.
We have time, chill.
You think that. See, guys, she's dragging it out. She wants more.
No, I'm just following a hunch. It's just taking longer than I thought it would.
She can't get enough. She doesn't want it to end.
Okay, let's see. I'm just trying to place the VA. I know them from something.
Yeah, but the problem is you're most likely just gonna get the... You're most likely just gonna get the Grand Order VA is the problem. Let me just do this. So I can probably get there faster. Behind the voice actor's broken at the moment? What the hell?
Yeah, I think the person that I found is... Oh! That's where I know him from. Okay. Well, if I have the correct VA, which I might not.
I mean, you really need to use your words here. Because it's
So I found Mamoru Miyano as the VA. But that could be incorrect. Because I'm looking through their video game history and didn't see anything for 2005.
Well, active from 2007 to present. The thing you have to keep in mind is that technically...
He has VA credits according to Wikipedia from 2004.
The thing you have to keep in mind is that this was not in 2004. Realta Nua was later.
But at any rate, I figured out what I knew him from.
Well, I mean, he's Tamaki Suo.
あまり見たことがない。
No, he was in Skip Beat,
貴重な体験をした。
which I've rewatched fairly recently, so...
それは。では、どうぞお気遣いなくお休みください。私はその間に兵を呼んでまいります。
A faint gasp. The knight's words must have been unexpected.
おう、何かご無礼な点でも。
いや、そなたの言い分に驚いた。夢とは目を覚ました後でも見れるものなのか。違う夢ではなく、目
Now
をつむれば
it's the knight's turn
また
to
同
be
じものが
surprised.
現れると。
For a moment, he's at a loss for words. At length, he responds, though he knows there's no truth to what she says.
はい。強く思えば。
You absolutely
同じ
can't
夢
go
を
back
見
to
続
the
けること
dream,
もできるでしょう。
although I might not be the
私にも
best
経験がありま
person
す
to。make that statement. I am a lucid dreamer, so I can just force it back.
Okay, so it is a different voice actor in Realta Nua. So it's not the one that you were thinking of. Mamoru Miyano is his Grand Order voice actor. His voice actor here is called Shinichiro, like Miki Shinichiro, who to see if I can pull something on him real quick. Shinichiro. It's not possible. A dream is a fleeting thing, not something to return to. Even so, the knight lies to his king. It's the first and last time he'll do such a thing.
You scroll, I'll read. It's okay.
そうか。そなたは博識だな。ベリビエール。
Okay, so I can run down a quick list of roles and you might know some of these. So he plays Kojiro, i.e. Japanese James in Pokemon. He plays Takumi Fujiwara in Initial D. Kisuke Urahara in Bleach. Tatsuma Sakamoto in Gintama. Aikaro Mikisugi in Kill la Kill. Kagetora Aida in Kuroko no Basuke. He's Roy Mustang in FMA Brotherhood. Maybe,
Okay,
maybe.
maybe.
Zamasu in Dragon Ball Super. There it is! Maybe. Keisuke Yuki.
Yep.
Fushigi Yugi.
Yep.
Found it. That's what you know him from, is Fushigi Yugi.
Miyaka's brother.
Yep. Found it. The king's soft voice is admirable. The king's head remains tilted down, not looking up at the knight. The king breathes so softly that it can be barely audible.
ベリビエール。我が名剣を持て。
The knight receives his king's final order.
よいか。この森を抜け。あの血塗られた丘を越えるのだ。
Quit being a bitch, Bedivere. Throw the sword in the fucking lake. Dying Artoria. The knight knows what that means. Yes, he's Roy Mustang, yeah. The sword in the lake. To relinquish the sword that had protected the king and served as proof of kingship would mean the end of his king.
行くのだ。ことを成し得たのならばここに戻り、そなたが見たことを伝えてほしい。
The king does not take back orders. The knight takes the sacred sword and goes over the hill, his indecision weighing heavily on him. And so, 3 times the knight hesitates to follow his king's command. Then the rooster crows, and the lake looms in front of him. But he can't throw the sword away. Doing so means his king will disappear. The knight's unwillingness to part with his king stays his hand, and so he returns to his king. Once again, the king orders him to throw the sword into the lake. When the knight lies and claims he's thrown the sword into the lake as ordered, his king simply states, "Do what I fucking told you, Bedivere." To defy the king's order is a great sin for a knight. But he's already done so twice. Each time he stands before the lake, he hesitates at the thought of losing his king. No more. When the knight realizes he cannot alter his king's decision, on his 3rd visit he hurls the sword into the lake. Yeet! The sacred sword returns to the lake. A white hand emerges from the water and catches the blade, and the sacred sword vanishes from the world. And the knight finally accepts it. The end of his king. The responsibilities that had so long burdened the knight finally come to an end. By the 3rd time he crosses the hill, the first rays of morning light touch the forest. The ruins of the battlefield now distant. There's no trace of the bloody battle, only a thin haze covers the hill.
湖に剣を投げ入れてまいりました。剣は湖の夫人の手に。
At the knight's words, the king's eyes open.
そうか。ならば胸を張るがよい。
Even if you did disobey me twice first.
そなたの王の命を守ったのだ。
The knight gives a silent nod to that voice, knowing the speaker is on the brink of death. It's all over. Turmoil will continue to grip the nation. The wars will not end. The day of ruin will come soon. But the king's battle is over. Because he, or rather she, fulfilled her role until the very end. The light fades. With everything done, the last of the strength that kept her going is spent.
すまないな。ベリビエール。今度の眠りは少し長く。
She closes her eyes. Slowly, as if going to sleep. The morning light spills through the treetops. As the king drifts to her eternal rest, a hush falls over the crowd. Forrest.
Took every fiber of my being not to respond.
The knight continues his vigil over the fallen king. The king he wished for. The solitary king attended by only a single knight. And he finally sees the look he hoped for on his king's face. A peaceful sleep. In her last moments, the king finally finds the peace that had so long eluded her. The knight is overjoyed. The knight thanks whoever gave his king such comfort, and watches the king with a sense of pride. The heavens are distant, and the clear sky is blue. The battle is truly over.
見ているのですか、アーサーを。
His words ride the wind. The sleeping king appears to sink into the endless blue.
続きを。
A distant dream takes her. The battle is over. Let us put our swords down and rest in the momentary peace. After dozing in a warm dream, a new day will dawn. The days continue, and so we are still following the same star we once saw. Roll Fate Route credits. Graphics black.
Where's
Moria.
where's the make the credits scroll faster button?
I don't think there is.
Ugh, I hate it when games don't give me a make the credits scroll faster button.
Let's see.
I tried pressing everything I wasn't worried would send us backwards.
Yeah, there's no fast forwarding the credits.
Ugh.
Oh, look, the staff for Remastered. WinFanWorks, the UI artist. Thank you, WinFanWorks. Graphics by Type Moon and Mugen Up. Aniplex, obviously doing their thing. They just have Bedivere in the credits. They didn't have Bedivere in the credits. That's not helpful. All the recording staff, yeah, those will have been forever ago. Opening animation staff. I think. Yeah, UFO table. Even back in the Rialta Nua days, they were still doing all the animation for Type Moon. Good old UFO table. Dude, I can't wait for those for those Mahoyo movies that they're working on. My god. Getting to see Best Girl Aoko do things. And...
Interesting chat saying, fun fact, Rin killed Heracles. No other mage can claim that.
True, Rin did kill Heracles. She took one of his lives.
I know.
Also, no other mage can claim this route. There are other routes. Finn! A new route has been unlocked.
Well.
And so UBW is available. For eventually. And we've done that many of the 40 Tiger Dojos and have seen one of the 5 endings. There's also an extra Tiger Dojo that's not listed here. I don't think we can... Can we?
Going on.
Poor Sakura. Why?
The fuck was that?
Okay. That was, Tambone 1. Apparently. Gotta love it. So...
Next week, I finally get to get away from this shit.
Yeah, next week we get to jump to, well, I mean, also on the Switch. So, that said, why don't we preview? If I could find it. Where the hell is it? Where is it? Did it just fall out of the list because I haven't opened it in long enough? There it is. Yeah, we were real clear from the beginning. We were just doing the Fate route this time. We might come back for UBW or something down the line.
In years, when my brain has had the time to recover. And if I feel like it. Which, let's be clear, I did not enjoy that. I enjoyed poking fun at my brother. And I enjoyed the ridiculous number of ways that my brother got things stuck into my brain.
Oh yeah, this actually has an opening, unlike the last Fire Emblem that we did. Oh no, wait. I guess... They didn't have like an opening, did they? I was Radiant Dawn had like a cinematic, but it wasn't like a... I don't feel like it was designed to be like an... I like that we're using... I like that we're using FemC in the opening. Oh, wait, there's...
Yeah, no, they've been swapping in and out between the two.
I'm gonna have to look... I'm gonna look at the Japanese for this, because I bet it's like...
I'm sure the Japanese is way
wildly
better.
fire. Toothpaste John! Hell yeah. So just as a reminder, for anyone that has played this game or knows the characters for this game and wants to like influence who we're running
Or
for
would
it,
just like to Google who they are to get names and then pick the ones you think seem either interesting or weak as fuck.
yeah, I've got a Google...
Fire Emblem. Engage.
Thank you. I've got a Google Forms linked in the Discord that's still going to be open until next week. For anybody that wants to submit like characters that, you know, like it's basically just asking people like, hey, who are your favorite characters? And if you've got builds for them that you like, throw them in. And we're going to kind of crowdsource our game, like our team for this. It's sort of first come, first serve. So like, you know, if somebody I'm asking for 3 for that reason. Cause like if somebody already got to it, then,
So
you know,
honestly,
it might go to somebody
Kevin,
else,
here's my thing. Google the character list, ignore the emblems, and pick the ones that look interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to do it, right? And I did note I have all the DLCs, so like all the DLC characters and all the DLC emblems and stuff are also they're fair game.
And you don't really need to know anything about the characters to be able to select one. Like we can make pretty much any character good.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's very easy to force characters to be good in this game.
You're basically picking whatever pretty chess piece you want on the board.
There are some characters who are just inherently better than other characters because of like innate abilities and stuff, but like you can make everybody usable.
Like, for example, one of my favorite characters, Saline, isn't necessarily crazy powerful on her own. I just like that she wears pretty princess dresses and is obsessed with tea. Like, her entire personality is tea. And I'm here for that. But to answer the pressing question on my thoughts on the Fate route,
I got a relay ticket.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that uses those dresses.
Well, I mean, this one's especially good because Ponytail Alir is best Alir.
I don't care for the orange and yellow, but there's only, you know, like, you can't do anything about the colors, so.
Not easily, anyway.
Um,
Is that always interactable?
But
Oh, that's a credit. Okay.
here's the thing. I'm not actually playing it up when I say that that game, if we hadn't been playing it on stream, I would not have finished. I'd have given up and been done with it. And it wouldn't have taken long at all for me to have hit that point. And there were a number of points even after that initial spot where I went home just like physically and mentally exhausted from dislike of the characters and some of the writing, and was mentally going, what would I have to do to convince Inu to let me drop this? And ultimately I was like, I know that's not going to work. So I hate when you don't have the option to call characters on their bullshit. It's one of my biggest complaints with the Valgard. It's one of my biggest complaints with a lot of, honestly, modern games, is that, you know, that they're so focused on what the overall narrative is that they push you down a route and they force you down a particular route, and they don't really give you agency over what you or what your characters do. I am always of the opinion that there should be an option in a video game for party members or for, you know, companions that you're traveling with to tell them to either get their shit together or go. And yes, that's exactly it. It's role-playing without the role-playing. And yes, that is kind of the problem with visual novels, which is why, as a general rule, I'm not a huge fan of visual novels. I really enjoy RPGs. But even with RPGs,
Willow just doesn't like books, because she can't tell the characters what to do in a book.
What's funny is I love reading, but the thing is, in reading, everything's fully set in front of you. For me, if I'm playing a game, that's the difference between reading and a video game. Is in a video game, I should be able to make the choices that impact what's going on in the world, and should be able to change the ending in at least some small way.
Yeah, you can change whether you die or not.
Right. And how many times would over the course of that playthrough was I cheering because Shiro died? Like,
everybody does that. Tiger Dojo's the best part.
Like, in an RPG, I should want to see the hero succeed. And I was never, like, there wasn't a point where I was rooting for Shiro because I know how visual novels work. I knew eventually you'd get to the quote-unquote correct ending. And, you know, to me, there's not a lot of fun in playing a game where there feels like there are absolutely no choices. The Fire Emblem games are a little different in that you have choices on, like, who you romance, or what characters you support with who, or how you build the units. It doesn't force you to build units particular ways. You get, so even though the story...
Dawn does.
That is true. But you can also get units killed. That then stay dead. Like, there's weight to your choices. There isn't meaningful weight to your choices in Fate Stay Night, because ultimately, if you want to actually clear the game, you have to make set specific choices.
I'm gonna get you to play Magical Diary one of these days. It kind of is the antithesis to everything you just said.
And it just... You know, I don't...
Meanwhile, I think you'd really like Mahoyo, because there's no choices whatsoever. It's just a book. It's just a book with pictures.
Like, the thing for me is that choices in Fate Stay Night were ultimately meaningless. And in a video game, and something that's marketed to me as a video game, I hate seeing that. I hate railroading. Now,
Like I said, Willow doesn't like books.
oddly,
Books railroad her.
again, that's not a video game. I know when I'm opening a book that unless I'm opening a choose your own adventure book, the book's only gonna end one way. But, and I wonder if you're right about how I'd feel about Mahoyo, though, if I went into it not thinking this is a video game, but thinking I'm playing a picture book.
Right, and it is. It's a book. It's a book with pictures that you press A to go through. The Bible is on PS2. So, you're telling me you don't like the Bible because it's a video game.
I'd be willing to bet I would hate
your
that.
Your choices are not relevant. You don't have any because it's a Bible.
I would be willing to bet I would hate that game.
It's not a game, it's the Bible on PS2.
Chat seems very confused.
Of course, I immediately knew that was a thing. Because
But-
why wouldn't I?
But that's, and I think that's a big part of why I got so frustrated with Fate Stay Night. And it's that, to Inu's point, the reason he keeps going back to so you hate books is he knows I spend a really significant chunk of my life when I'm not playing video games reading. Like, reading's one of my favorite pastimes. I'm also, I also write all the time. I've got a couple of, completely original novels that I've got working inside stuff. I've got written versions of tabletop campaigns I've played in that I'm working through. I love narrative creation, but because I spend so much time reading and so much time writing, I'm also usually pretty good at, when something leans heavily into tropes, I'm usually really, really solid at calling what's going to happen before it does. And when there's absolutely no subversion of what I kind of expect, that's frustrating.
Yeah, of course that shit's real. I'm not gonna make up the Bible on PS2. Why the fuck would I make up the Bible on PS2? That's a real thing.
So yes, that's a genuinely frustrating game for me. Now, from what it sounds like and from what people I know in real life whose opinions I trust have told me, I will be less frustrated with the way I'm railroaded in UBW.
Yeah, I mean, UBW, it's still a linear story that you can, get some branching scenes and some deaths in, right? And that's, in some ways, right, the way you have to think about visual novels is they're a choose-your-own-adventure book where the only options are the ending at the end and death.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's multiple endings, right? So,
No.
UBW has 2 different endings. Heaven's Feel has 2 different endings.
Now, here's the thing, right, is going back to your so you hate books, I finish every book I personally buy, but I also take out books from the library on a fairly regular basis if I don't feel like buying new books. And if I get a handful of chapters into a book and I don't like the plot, or I don't like the characters, or I don't like the choices that are being made, I'll flip to the last couple chapters, see if there's a serious shift in character dynamic,
You'd have
And-
been so fucked if you did that with Stay Night, though. Because you'd have skipped to the end of Heaven's Feel,
And
where Shiro is a completely different character to the Fate route.
and here's the thing is if I still don't like the characters or the writing style in the last few chapters, I stop the book without finishing it. Because if I did not pay to own a copy of it, I feel absolutely no qualms about walking away from a book that I don't find any enjoyment in.
Yeah, the problem with doing that with something like Stay Night, like I said, you'd have just ended up with a totally different Shiro. Like that Heaven's Feel Shiro is completely different to Stay Night Shiro or to Fate Route Shiro, and also completely different to UBW Shiro. They're effectively just three entirely different protagonists that share the same name and backstory. So yeah, Fate Route Shiro is kind of a dickhead, and everybody agrees about this. UBW Shiro is, to my mind, the best Shiro, and it's also the best route, and has the best ending. But there are people who really like Heaven's Feel, and I think what they did with Shiro's character in Heaven's Feel was super interesting. And like I said, I think there's a lot of themes in Heaven's Feel that I just did not have the context to truly to truly kind of appreciate or internalize the first time I played it through, because I don't hesitate to say that I really did not like Heaven's Feel. Not because I didn't think the story in it was good, but I thought some of the characters were handled really terribly. Like, really badly. And it might just be that I'm missing context that you would have, right? But to put it, like, basically, right? So, Fate Route is... Shiro is just an idealistic dumbass who wants what he wants because he's a teenage boy. UBW is, your ideals are stupid, here's why we're challenging your worldview. And Heaven's Feel is Shiro going, you know, my ideals are stupid. Fuck it. Heaven's Feel is just Shiro going, you know what? Balls to it. Fuck this.
And to a degree, that's actually really healthy, actually.
Yeah. UBW really challenges Shiro. Like, tremendously so. Both because Rin is a much better foil to Shiro than Artoria is. You know, Rin doesn't put up with Shiro's bullshit and gives it back every bit as good as she gets. Archer is a lot more prevalent in UBW. Archer is way more of a character. And as you saw from the bits with Archer and Shiro in this game, or in that route, Archer is not afraid to fucking tell Shiro that he's stupid and his ideals are stupid and he needs to be less shit at things. So you get a lot more of Archer fucking telling Shiro how to not be a fucking shithead. We get a lot more Gilgamesh. There's a lot more Gilgamesh in UBW, which I know you're going to appreciate because you like Gil. It's a lot more of Rin, obviously. A lot more Rin. So, you know, it's a very different story. The Fate route is not representative of the entirety of Fate Stay Night. It is representative of the Fate route. But it acts as sort of a primer to the world and some of the background that they're just not going to repeat in the other routes, right? Like you go into the other routes and they're expecting you to have some background knowledge on like the way things operate so that they don't have to explain it every fucking time. Although they will explain who certain servants are that we didn't actually get the explanation in that route, like Medea and Archer. Did we? Oh, I don't think they ever. No, and Ryder, who we never actually They never actually said was Medusa.
Did they not?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they didn't say that in the Fate route.
I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious.
No, we got Assassin already. They told us who Assassin was.
Assassin told us who Assassin was.
Assassin started by telling us who Assassin was. Yeah, we also get a lot more of Ku in UBW. Like, Ku's around a lot more. So, characters that you actually like, they're way more around in UBW. Ku's not just gone the entire fucking route. And, you know, so it's a very different thing, but that's for some time in the future, possibly, maybe. I do still want to make you go through Magical Diary at some point, because it's a visual novel, but it's also an RPG, and it's also very, very choice-based. Like, you can get some really stupid shit to happen. Like, you can get yourself expelled. True story.
Yeah, like I said, as a general rule, like, I'll do dating sim visual novels from time to time, but there are so many ways you can fuck up a dating sim.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Magical Diary is one of those, too.
Yeah,
by the way. Just saying.
Like, so those are really the only visual novels I enjoy, and that's just because I love seeing that flirting the way I would flirt leads to nothing but disaster. Which is art imitating life.
Yeah.
But so those I enjoy on occasion and in short bursts, but on the whole, visual novels are not my thing, and respect to people who love visual novels as games, I just don't.
See, I don't like them as games. Because they're not games. I like them as storytelling mediums. Like, I like visual novels for the storytelling of them. Is what I get out of them.
It's just, I find a lot of the time they're very predictable.
Well, so are most books.
That's fair.
And movies and television shows. There are 7 stories. I'm sure you've heard this. There are only 7 stories in the world. Every story is one of 7.
One of my lit professors in college used to say that every story that has ever existed or will ever exist can be traced back to the Bible and Shakespeare. Was the way they liked to phrase it.
I mean, that's true, but all of Shakespeare can be traced back to the Bible.
Yeah.
So, like... But that's just because the Bible contains all 7. Every story ever written, there's only 7 of them, they're all in the Bible, and therefore everything can go back to the Bible. I mean, everything can go back to Narnia if you want it to. Right?
Oh, listen.
There's only 7 stories and they're all in Narnia.
I love the Chronicles of Narnia. But... Well, one of these days, and I would have to deep dive into my game collection to figure out what the right route to do with this would be. Because we did it to an extent with 3 Houses, but I would love to find a game I know really, really well that you haven't played, and, you know, get to sit to the side while you play through it. And I genuinely, a part of me would love for that to be Dragon Age Inquisition, but I know that's not happening. Just because it is my personal favorite of the Dragon Age games. Because I think for some of my, like, passion, but also that would take us a billion years to get through, even in 3-hour sittings.
Yeah.
Between all the codex entries, the fact that the plot itself is, especially with all the DLC somewhere in the area of, if you're being thorough, 120 plus hours.
Yeah, that's
like,
the thing. Like, anything open world or open world adjacent like that is just, I don't know, I kind of think it's awful for, like, recording and streaming.
Says the person playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, but, I mean...
Just saying. Hot kettle.
Yeah, look how often we don't play Baldur's Gate 3.
well, that has more to do with the fact that there's 4 of you that need to be present for that and schedule. That is art imitating life when it comes to scheduling D&D. You know,
Yeah, it really is. Incidentally, unrelated, I found out about a system the other day that I'm actually really excited about and kind of want to look at more closely. Can't for the life of me remember what it's called now, but I did download the source books and the character sheets and stuff for it.
Okay, link it to me later. I'll take a look.
Super interesting. Kind of Age-esque in that it uses a lot of D6s to do stuff. But it's also, it can operate on D anything as well. Like most of the tests are all done with like D6s, right? But there are also it's fully customizable. You can make custom races, you can make custom classes, you can make custom weapons, armor, spells, magical artifacts, everything. There's a system for like building all of that shit. And one of the things that's really cool is when you're building like weapons and spells and stuff, as you add effects, they have a basic dice count that they do. So like a fire spell might be like a D8, right, to begin with. But they also allow you to redistribute the dice as long as the maximum amount stays the same.
Interesting.
So rather than making it a single D8, you could make it 2D4s.
Interesting.
Right? So it's like a really cool system. I'm super interested in it. I want to kind of read the book, and it's not actually out yet. It's playtest material, and
Yeah.
they pre-ordered. They did a Kickstarter for the actual book, which I didn't find out about until it was too late. But like, super excited by that. Definitely want to look at that because it's supposed to be really easy to teach new people. Originally, it started as a homebrew for 5e, and then they just split it out into its own thing. I think something like that would be really useful for our group, especially if you want to bring in people like, you know, our dad, who's less, you know, less like researchy, figure out what to do. And if we could just tell them, hey, what do you want to be? Let's figure out how to literally build that exact thing. Like, you're not being constrained. We can make that, right? Whatever you want to make, we can make that. That's a thing.
To be fair, that's kind of how I feel about the
And there's
age
no
system.
level cap. There's literally no level cap. Which
Yeah,
is...
disregarding the no level cap thing, that's kind of how I feel about the age system.
Yeah, I know, me too. And this seems like everything I love about the age system, but like just more customizable, which is fucking cool as hell to me.
Have I sent you the Phage 2
No.
handbook? Because I can if you want me to. I've got it digitally.
How have the 2 new Grand Order Servant Banners been going for you? Which 2 new ones? The only... I mean, I have NP5 Draco and NP like 18 Lacosta because of how long it took to get the 5th copy of Draco, but... You know, that's that.
So Kingdom Hearts... Oh, it's gonna sound really strange hearing me say this.
Kingdom Hearts, I don't own it.
Neither do I. Which is really strange when you consider I'm a Disney fangirl. I don't think I've played like demo versions of some of the Kingdom Hearts games, so I'm familiar with generally how they work, but I don't think I've ever actually full-on played a Kingdom Hearts game.
No, I've seen Kingdom Hearts played, but yeah, I mean, it's just it's essentially, in many ways, it's an old Final Fantasy combat system with a Disney skin on top of it.
Yeah.
Is really what it is.
What?
Also, Tiamat have NP1, so that's the answer to that. Yeah, I have NP1 Tiamat. Stop there. Didn't need to go farther.
But yeah, so that's generally my thoughts on how at least the Fate route went.
Yeah, I mean, valid points. Fate route is kind of rough. UBW is the best that Stay Night has to offer.
It was just overwhelmingly predictable to someone who reads as much fantasy literature as I do. Like, it just didn't do anything really that made me go, oh, well, that's new and different. Aside from describing mud as a carpet. That was confusing.
It's a carpet, you know.
Carpet snakes.
Carpet snakes.
Better known as mud?
Snakes.
Question mark. Corrosive mud?
I don't know.
But-
Anyway, yeah. So, next week, Engage. Starting a fresh save. I said this before, I'm just running it on whatever the default difficulty is. This playthrough, this one here, this is my first playthrough. So no, I don't want to travel places. How do I go into the menu? What was the menu
start button?
There. System. No, can I?
Settings.
How do I load? Do I not load? Do you have to go back to the title screen to load?
Probably.
I don't remember. Anyway, my initial save was on hard. Like I did it on the hardest. I think hard was the hardest difficulty that was available out of the gate for me. And I did do it on hard classic originally. To be fair, when we do the one for the stream, I am probably going to leave it on normal, and just to make our lives less miserable and so we don't have to potentially reset like 1,000 times, I might even put it on the Resi mode one, just so that we don't have to rewind as much if things go sideways. Because there are some maps in this game that are just kind of evil.
Yeah.
Like, there are some really evil maps in this game. And I've
Yeah,
already
there
done hard classic. And I kind of just want it to be like a chill stream where we don't really have to, like...
Stress about as much?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of just want it to be chill and for us to go through it and, like, experiment with, you know, interesting builds or whatever and not have to grind for, like, endless hours to... Because I did so much grinding in hard classic just to keep pace with things.
That's why I'm still... That and the fact that I'm working my way through the Xenologue, and the Xenologue's rough. But that's why I'm still sitting ahead of going into the final battle. Like, I'm literally sitting at the end of the game.
Okay, so you did make it, like, to the end, but you haven't actually finished it.
Yeah, I haven't actually finished it.
Yeah, because I knew you'd played it, but I knew you hadn't finished it. I just didn't know how far you had gotten.
Yeah, no, sitting on the main map anyway, going into the final fight.
Gotcha.
In the Xenologues, I'm getting a little stonewalled because you can't really level those units. You're stuck with how they are.
Yeah,
And
Xenologues can be quite tricky.
And the options that they give you are rough, and they depower your main unit.
They do.
And,
Yep.
And they hard lock you into the correct classes for them, and
It's quite tricky. Yeah, agreed.
And that frustrates me because it takes away my agency and my choice. And again, if you guys haven't picked up on it, I like player agency in games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we'll have to do the Xenologues. Because it's going to depend
We might not have to.
It's going to depend on what characters people pick. Like, or, I mean, we might want to do the ones for the, we might want to do the paralogs for the emblems, right? Obviously. But, the Fell Xenologues, the actual, like, DLC
Yes, we
stuff.
completed all of the Fate route.
We might not have to do. No, we're done. Fate route's done. But you have to remember, there is a bit at the end of the Fate route that you don't get to see until you've also done UBW and Heavensfeel. There is actually an epilogue to the epilogue of the Fate route.
That is what I figured, because it felt unfinished.
But there wasn't in the original game. I'm pretty sure that was added by Rialta Nua, I think, maybe? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, yeah, it's not technically over, but it's over as far as the original bit goes, and you have to actually clear everything else before you can see the final bit. So, yeah, next week we scroll up here and we press that new game button. And by then, I'll actually know what our team is going to look like. I don't know if I want to reveal that up front to anyone other than Willow.
I was about to say, do I get to know in advance at least?
Well, I mean, I'm going to have it listed, right? So,
Fair.
but I'll have an idea of what that's going to look like, even if we don't share it. So, that's next week. Till then.
We'll catch you guys next time.